Chapter 368. Good, you have a bright future. Qin Wancho smiled. Let's go out and get married. Let me make a big deal while we're at it. Qin City's Madame Qiu Ruhan said, Husband, but Yang Dingtian killed my niece. Qin Wancho smiled faintly. There are so many idiots in the Autumn Water Sword sect. What's wrong with killing a few? Qiu Ruhan's expression changed drastically. Her delicate body trembled as she took a few steps back and lowered her head. Qin Zhaojiao looked at her father in disbelief. All along, her mother Qiu Ruhan was very strict with her. It was her father, Qin Wancho, who doted on her. A year ago, she was punished for contradicting Shen Lang, and it was all just an act. Now that she was being bullied like this, her father actually had such an attitude. Her mind went blank, and she didn't care about anything else. She pulled out the jade hairpin on her head and placed it on her neck. She stared at Qin Wancho and said, Father, immediately cancel my engagement with Yang Dingtian. Otherwise, I will die in front of you immediately. Following that, Qin Zhaojiao used a bit of force and pierced the delicate skin on her neck. Fresh blood flowed out. Qin Wancho turned around and looked at his daughter. Qin Zhaojiao's gaze was filled with determination and stubbornness. Father, daughter would rather die than marry Yang Dingtian. Qin Wancho's gaze constricted, and he said indifferently, Zhaojiao, do you think I dote on you? Qin Zhaojiao cried. Father dotes on daughter very much, so I beg father to grant my wish. Daughter marrying Yang Dingtian is truly a fate worse than death. Then you must feel that marrying Yang Dingtian is very wronged? Qin Wancho asked. Yes. Qin Zhaojiao said. Daughter hates him. Also, he comes from a lowly background. How is he worthy of daughter? Qin Wancho sighed. Zhaojiao, do you know why I always indulge you? To let you run amok in Qin City and spread your domineering name throughout the world? Qin Zhaojiao's gaze became even more tender. It's because father dotes on daughter. Wrong, you're wrong. Qin Wancho said, the reason why I indulge you is because you are the stupidest among all my children. You are destined to have no future, so I don't need to strictly discipline you. The moment he said that, Yang Dingtian also looked at Qin Wancho in disbelief. As a father, he actually said such harsh words to his daughter. Qin Zhaojiao suddenly trembled as her face instantly turned ghastly pale, and she looked at Qin Wancho in disbelief. Her vision was dizzy, and her entire body was on the verge of collapse. Without a doubt, her father Qin Wancho's love was the most important part of her life. Now, with Qin Wancho saying such words, he felt like the sky was going to collapse. Also, do you feel wronged by marrying Yang Dingtian? Qin Wancho smiled and said, in reality, he feels even worse than you. Him marrying you is probably no better than eating a poisonous snake alive. You can't imagine how disgusted he is with you and how much he despises you. He's not good enough for you. Even 100 of you aren't good enough for Yang Dingtian. Qin Zhaojiao's body swayed, and she almost fell to the ground. You want me to break off the engagement or commit suicide? Qin Wancho said coldly, then commit suicide. I'll stand here and watch you die, and I definitely won't stop you. After you die, I'll immediately find another daughter, prettier and gentler. I'll immediately promote her to the first wife's daughter and change her name to Qin Zhaojiao to Yang Dingtian. The delay definitely won't exceed 2 hours. Then, you can disappear from this world without a sound. Finally, Qin Zhaojiao couldn't take it anymore and fainted. Yang Dingtian went forward and pressed on her philtrum, waking her up. Looking at her frightened eyes and her pale face that had lost all sense of security, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but feel pity for her. Qin Wancho sighed and said, although you're not smart enough, you're still my daughter. I'll warn you one last time. This husband of yours, Yang Dingtian, might kill his way into Qin City in the near future and take my head. But you'd better be good at being Mrs. Yang. Maybe you'll be happier than your brothers and sisters. With that, Qin Wancho walked out. His wife, Qiu Ruhan, hurriedly followed. Yang Dingtian gave Qin Zhaojiao a Saint Spirit pill to let her recover some energy, then covered her head with a veil. Don't cover her head. Let everyone see that she was beaten up before, Qin Wanchou said indifferently. Instantly, Yang Dingtian was even more stunned. He really couldn't understand Qin Wanchou, this ambitious and ruthless person. Qin Zhaojiao's beautiful eyes trembled, and she suddenly tore off her veil. She stared coldly at Yang Dingtian, then walked out. The wedding ceremony was in progress. All the guests saw half of Qin Zhaojiao's red and swollen face, and even the palm print on it could be seen clearly. In the beginning, the guests revealed astonished expressions, then quickly pretended that they didn't see anything, but their gazes couldn't help but avoid Qin Zhaojiao's red and swollen face. The wedding ceremony began. 2 of the 4 seats at the top were empty, and Yang Dingtian's elders weren't there. So, they could only be empty. Under Li Guinong's command, the wedding ceremony was about to begin. Right at this moment, the ceremony outside suddenly shouted, "Yinyang School's elder, Ling Qingchen, has arrived." Instantly, the scene was in an uproar. All the guests stood up together. Qin Wanchou's face shook, revealing an expression of disbelief. Then, he stood up from his seat and strode out of the hall to welcome them. Yang Dingtian, follow me. Yang Dingtian hurriedly followed. Walking to the entrance of the hall, Yang Dingtian instantly saw a simple middle-aged man slowly walking up the stairs. This person was Ling Qingchen. Dongfang Minmi's senior brother, Ling Ao's father, the son of the previous Yinyang School's principal, and the former successor of the Yinyang School. However, he wasn't very interested in this position. He felt that his martial arts talent wasn't as good as Dongfang Minmi's, so he took the initiative to give it up. He also had another identity, Dongfang Minmi's sworn brother. Yang Dingtian had never seen him before, but he had heard his master, Dongfang Minmi, mention him many times. The sentence he said the most was that if his sworn brother was here that day, Dongfang Bingling wouldn't have chased after him. This person was Dongfang Minmi's closest person in the Yinyang School. Although he had resigned from the position of successor of the Yinyang School, he was definitely the second most important person in the Yinyang School. However, he had been wandering outside for many years in pursuit of freedom, so Yang Dingtian had never met him, and very few people in the world had seen him. However, the legends about him never stopped. Every time someone mentioned that Ling Qingchen had been to a certain place, countless people would flock to that place, hoping to meet this legendary person. After arriving at the entrance of the main hall, Qin Wanchou directly shook off his wife and Yang Dingtian and quickly walked down. As he walked, he said, Senior Brother Leng, why didn't you say anything if you were coming? I should have at least brought people to welcome you. How disrespectful are you making me?" Qin Wanchou walked to Ling Qingchen and bowed deeply. Then, he turned around and stood side by side with Ling Qingchen. He even took half a step back and led Ling Qingchen forward. Ling Qingchen waved his hand in response to Qin Wanchou's respect and said, "Wanchou, don't treat me like niece Bingling." No. Qin Wanchou smiled. When Ling Qingchen walked closer, Yang Dingtian immediately knelt down and said, Yinyang School's disciple, Cloud Sky City's Lord Yang Dingtian, greets Marshal Ant Leng. Ling Qingchen stopped and said, "You are Yang Dingtian." "Yes." "Yang Dingtian." Ling Qingchen went forward and patted Yang Dingtian's head and said, "I didn't get to see Nye Mia for the last time, but you served him." "This disciple doesn't dare," Yang Dingtian said. "A few days ago, I was traveling when I received a secret message from Bingling. She said that you were coming to Qin City to marry Qin Zhaojiao. She was worried about your safety, so she asked me to come over." Qin Wanchou's heart is black and merciless. "He really can do anything, so I came over," Leng Wuchen said. His words were so direct that Qin Wanchou couldn't help but feel a little awkward. Then, Ling Qingchen said, "I wasn't at the Yinyang School that day, so it caused a lot of misunderstandings and caused you to be expelled from the Yinyang School. But fortunately, the misunderstandings have been cleared up, and Bingling cares a lot about you, which is great. Let me declare that you, Yang Dingtian, are still a disciple of the Yinyang school, and your position is on the same level as Bingling, above my son, Ling Ao. Of course, you will continue to be the Cloud Heaven City Lord. Yes, thank you, Martial Uncle. Yang Dingtian kowtowed again. Also, since you are already a disciple of the Yinyang school, if anyone wants to harm you, they will kill you. My Yinyang school won't agree. Although your master is no longer around, there are still a few old bones in the Yinyang school. Even I, your martial uncle, don't have many opponents in the world. So if someone wants to harm you, I will fight them, Ling Qingchen said. However, you are a disciple of the Yinyang school, but Cloud Heaven City doesn't belong to the Yinyang school. So if someone wants to harm Cloud Heaven City, we won't interfere. Of course, if Bingling cares about you and wants to interfere, I won't stop her. Yes, thank you, martial uncle. Ling Qingchen smiled and said, also, are you still going to compete with Bingling in 3 years? Yang Dingtian said, we should still compete, but I don't really care about winning or losing. Previously, I had a lot of misunderstandings about Bingling. She is very impressive, even more so than Master to a large extent. Ling Qingchen laughed and said, compete, you still have to compete. You are still young and don't understand some things. Bingling is actually not suitable to be the Yinyang school's principal. You are more suitable. However, she is stubborn and I can't persuade her. I have talked to her. If she wins the competition in 3 years, I will support her to be the Yinyang school's principal. If you win, you will be the Yinyang school's principal. Bingling will obediently be your wife and stand behind you to support you. Ah! Yang Dingtian was completely stunned. He couldn't help but ask, then what is her attitude? She didn't say anything. Ling Qingchen said, but sometimes, not saying anything is already saying something. So, do your best. 3 years later, defeat Bingling, marry her, and become the Yinyang school's principal. Then, I won't have to worry anymore. Yang Dingtian could only kowtow in a daze. He couldn't say anything for a while. Not only did this martial Aunt Ling attend his wedding, but she also told him that if he defeated Bingling 3 years later, he would become the Yinyang school's principal and marry Dongfang Bingling. However, Ling Ao was Ling Qingchen's son. He was also infatuated with Dongfang Bingling. Then what about senior Ling Ao? Yang Dingtian couldn't help but ask. Ling Ao? Ling Qingchen laughed and said, Bingling doesn't like him. I can't randomly match him just because he is my son. Qin Wanchou looked at Yang Dingtian with a slightly complicated gaze. Then, he said to Ling Qingchen, Senior Ling, the auspicious time has arrived. Let's go in first. Okay. Ling Qingchen laughed and said, Wanchou, maybe when a disaster comes in the future, you will have to rely on your son-in-law. Senior brother, can't you hope for me a little better? Qin Wanchou smiled helplessly and said, moreover, although I am a little ambitious, I still know what is right and wrong. Evil ways to kill my niece Bingling even though you know that clearly? Ling Qingchen said, if it weren't for the fact that we can't fight, I would fight with you right now. Otherwise, you will really think that there is no one in my Yinyang school. Qin Wanchou laughed and said, but you didn't succeed in killing her. Just you wait. Ling Qingchen said, in a few years, my niece will come looking for trouble with you. At that time, I'm afraid you will really have to rely on your son-in-law. I know your ambition, and I even approve of it. I don't intend to stop you. However, can you be more particular about your table manners? As per senior brother Ling's order, Qin Wanchou said. Ling Qingchen looked at Yang Dingtian and said, Little Tian, I know you are very wary of this father-in-law in front of you. I'm afraid you have long seen him as a future enemy. However, I have to remind you that there is an even more dangerous person, Zhu Qingzhu. He is the true devil. You father-in-law and son-in-law should not be in a hurry to fall out with each other. It is more important for you to work together to get rid of this devil. Qin Wanchou and Yang Dingtian looked at each other helplessly. However, Ling Qingchen's suggestion was indeed acceptable. Alright, let's go in, Ling Qingchen said and then pulled Yang Dingtian's hand into the main hall. As soon as he walked in, the guests present knelt down and said in unison, "Greetings, Elder Leng." Then, Qin Huayu and his siblings knelt down in unison and kowtowed, "Greetings, Martial Uncle Leng." "Get up." Ling Qingchen helped Qin Huayu up and said, "Since you are colluding with each other, then make friends with Yang Dingtian. You will not be disappointed." "Yes," Qin Huayu said respectfully. Ling Qingchen walked in front of Qin Jiaojiao and looked at her swollen face and said, "You are the Qin Jiaojiao who is going to marry Yang Dingtian?" Qin Jiaojiao was originally domineering and rude, but at this moment, she was completely suppressed by Ling Qingchen's aura and did not dare to be rash. She lowered her head and said, "Yes. I asked around a little these 2 days. Your reputation isn't good and everyone says that you are not smart." Ling Qingchen smiled and said, "But from what I see now, you are a woman with good fortune." With that said, Ling Qingchen walked over and sat down at the seat of honor, becoming a senior on Yang Dingtian's side. Li Guinong stepped forward and bowed, "Greetings, Elder Leng." Ling Qingchen stood up and said, "Junior brother Li, you must not bow." The wedding ceremony officially began. It was similar to the rules on Earth. The first bow to the 2 moons and 2 suns in the sky. The second bow to the great god Primal Chaos on the ground. The third bow to the husband and wife. The fourth bow to the husband and wife. After the ceremony, the banquet officially began. Countless fine wine and delicacies, delicious fruits, and melons were served up like flowing water. There were 2 seats at the very center. Ling Qingchen and Qin Wanchou sat on the left, and Yang Dingtian and Qin Jiaojiao sat on the right. After the banquet began, Yang Dingtian and Qin Jiaojiao did not have time to eat and had to carry out a long toast. The first toast was to Ling Qingchen, the second toast was to Qin Wanchou, the third toast was to Qiu Ruhan, and the fourth toast was to the matchmaker, Li Guinong. These 4 cups of wine had to be toasted first. But the order of the following toasts would depend on the arrangement. Qin City's chief steward cum master of ceremonies, Qin Wancheng, stood up and said, "Next, the first toast of the bride and groom has extraordinary significance. Who wants to get this first toast?" "We all want." Instantly, the people below said in unison. "All right then, let's see who dotes on the bride and groom the most." Qin Wancheng smiled and said. Immediately, White Cloud City's city lord stood up and said, "My White Cloud City sends 3 billion gold coins, plus 120 miles of island, plus 352 pieces of bloody black gold. Congratulations to the bride and groom to grow old together." The moment White Cloud City's city lord finished speaking, everyone was shocked. Yang Dingtian was also slightly shocked. Since when was his toast so valuable? 3 billion gold coins, 120 miles of island, and 352 pieces of bloody black gold. Although White Cloud City was rich, they could not take out so many things. They probably borrowed a lot from the Black Heaven sect. Such a high price was definitely not to fight for Yang Dingtian's first toast. It was for tonight's finale, the treasure of heaven and earth, the Yin-Yang reincarnation crystal. Previously, Yang Dingtian thought that the people of Qin City were unreliable. They actually held the auction of the Yin-Yang reincarnation crystal on his wedding day. Qin Mingli said that it would be very refined, but he did not expect it to be in the name of the first toast. After White Cloud City's city lord made his bid, the others immediately followed suit. North's World Society, an 800 miles mine and 13 8th grade martial technique manuals. 5 8th grade mystic technique manuals. 3,000 iron warriors and 500 berserk demonic dragons. The North's World Society was also one of the 9 sects of the world. Although sect leader Song Shao was not yet a great master, he was very close. If the Northwest Qin City was the overlord of the Northwest and Southwest continents, then the World Society was the overlord of the North. Although their power and territory were not as strong as the Northwest Qin City, they were not too far off. Moreover, the World Society had 2 items that could shake the world. One was the Iron Warriors, a type of puppet warrior that was almost invulnerable. These warriors were soaked in potions and did not know fear or pain. They would definitely obey any orders. Moreover, every iron warrior's cultivation was above the great mystic martial master level. It could be said that Qin Cheng was drooling at the sight of the steel warriors. This was because the steel warriors were a powerful army. 3,000 of them were equivalent to more than 30,000 people. The World Society also had another item, the Berserk demonic dragon. Of course, although it was called a dragon, it was actually a type of lizard. Hence, it should be called the Berserk demonic lizard. This was a very cruel and ferocious demonic beast. Its running speed was very shocking. The World Society had a secret technique that could tame this kind of cruel demonic beast into a mount and let the strongest warriors ride on this Berserk demonic lizard. Then, they would form the most terrifying demonic dragon cavalry. It could be said that in a simple battle, 500 demonic dragon cavalry could defeat an army of tens of thousands. The demonic dragon cavalry was the trump card of the World Society. It was the greatest treasure that allowed the World Society to dominate the North. Now, in order to obtain the yin-yang reincarnation crystal, the World Society was actually willing to reveal these two treasures. Yang Dingtian clearly saw that Qin Wanchou's body trembled slightly. His eyes suddenly lit up. It was obvious that he was extremely tempted. Cloud Sky Pavilion and Earth-Splitting City are willing to offer 1,300 square kilometers of land, 100 Yang crystal warships, and 1,000 Golden Claw demonic griffins to wish the bride and groom a long life together. When this price was announced, the entire crowd was shocked. Everyone was shocked speechless. Although the yin-yang reincarnation crystal was the most valuable treasure in the world, there was no need to pay such a terrifying price. Ling Qingchen came over and said, what they want to buy is not only the yin-yang reincarnation crystal, but also the Tiando League's permission for the buyer to build a Xian energy condensation purification formation. So that was it. The Cloud Sky Pavilion and Earth-Splitting City were originally only offering 1,300 square kilometers of land. Now, they were offering 1,300 square kilometers of land, 100 Yang crystal warships, and 1,000 Golden Claw demonic griffins. This price could be said to have doubled compared to the previous price. The Yang crystal warships were a secret of the Cloud Sky Pavilion. They were the treasures that allowed them to dominate the sea. This type of warship had 3 times the speed of a normal ship. It also had several times the attack power. The Cloud Sky Pavilion had the Yang crystal warships, which was why they could dominate the sea for hundreds of years. The Golden Claw demonic griffins were the trump card of Earth-Splitting City. Most factions would have mounts. For example, Cloud Sky City had floating skates. However, they were very rare and could not form a large army. The Golden Claw demonic griffins were extremely rare large-scale flying beasts. With them, they could form a large flying cavalry army. How terrifying would 1,000 flying cavalry be? Having a flying cavalry was equivalent to having an air force in the Earth era. How shocking would that be? This should be the highest price for the day. Next, it was Yang Dingtian's turn. Chapter 369. Just as Yang Dingtian was about to bid, the World Society, Earth Fisher City, and Cloud Sky Pavilion started bidding again. Little Tian, you also want this yin-yang reincarnation crystal? Ling Qingchen asked. Yes, martial uncle, Yang Dingtian replied. You also want to build a celestial qi condensation purification array? Ling Qingchen asked. Yes. Yang Dingtian nodded. Ling Qingchen had traveled the world and seen all kinds of things. There was nothing that could shock her. However, Yang Dingtian's idea still shocked her. Cloud Sky City was undoubtedly in its most difficult time. On the surface, it had 1,000 miles of territory, but in reality, it only controlled less than 200 miles of territory. Moreover, there was not a single Grandmaster in Cloud Sky City. Cloud Sky City's name was still resounding in the world, but it was all because of Shimin Wuya's influence. Cloud Sky City's current strength was probably not even in the top 50 in the world. The Cloud Sky Pavilion, the Overlord of the Sea, and the Earth Fisher City, the overlord of the sky, were both in the top 10 in the world. However, they still had to work together to build a celestial chi condensation purification array. A small cloud sky city actually wanted to build one on its own. If not for the fact that Yang Dingtian never lied, Ling Qingchen would have thought that Yang Dingtian was talking nonsense. At this moment, Qin Wanchou also heard their conversation. He looked at Yang Dingtian and asked, "Kid, you also want to build a celestial chi condensation array?" Yang Dingtian nodded. "Are you out of your mind?" Qin Wanchou said, "My Qin city is the richest in the world, but it took us more than 10 years to build this celestial chi condensation array. Your cloud sky city is so poor. Even if we give you a celestial chi condensation array, you won't be able to use it." When Qin Wanchou finished speaking, Qiu Ruhan's beautiful eyes revealed a mocking and disdainful look. "Father-in-law, whether I can build it or not is also my business," Yang Dingtian said. "Ha!" Qin Wanchou laughed and said, "Up to you then. But even though you and I are father-in-law and son-in-law, public is public, private is private. Don't even dream about it. I will give you this yin-yang reincarnation crystal as Jiao Jiao's dowry. I'm not that greedy. Of course, I'll bid. Father-in-law, you don't need to be biased." Yang Dingtian said. "Oh, that's right, Meng Li is head over heels in love with you. I'm afraid she'll throw all her wealth at you." Qin Wanchou said, "But if you're counting on Meng Li's wealth to exchange for the yin-yang reincarnation crystal, you're dreaming. Although she's rich, no one in this world can surpass her in terms of gold. However, her wealth can't be exchanged for yin-yang reincarnation crystals. You have to be clear about this." Yang Dingtian said, "Of course I won't use Meng Li's money. I'll use my own wealth to exchange for this yin-yang reincarnation crystal." Qin Wanchou immediately sat up straight and said, "Now that you've said it like that, I'm really attracted to you. What exactly do you want to use to exchange for it, and what price are you willing to pay? From the looks of it, even if you sell the entire Cloud Sky City, it won't be enough." "No hurry, father-in-law. I'll wait until they've finished bidding, then I'll bid," Yang Dingtian said. The World Society of the North offers an 800-mile mine and 13 8th-grade martial technique manuals. 5 8th-grade mystic technique manuals. 5,000 iron warriors, 1,000 berserk demon dragons, 800 miles of land, and 2,000 miles of sea. The elder of the World Society suddenly stood up and roared. Instantly, the crowd was thunderous. Compared to before, the World Society's price had almost doubled. It seemed that this overlord of the North was determined to obtain this yin-yang reincarnation crystal. The crowd was silent for a moment. About 2 minutes later, the elder of the Cloud Sky Pavilion stood up again. "The Cloud Sky Pavilion and Earth-Splitting City are willing to offer 5 billion gold coins, 1,500 miles of land, 300 yang crystal warships, 3,000 golden claw demon griffins. In addition to a 9th-grade beast soul pill." As soon as these words were spoken, the crowd was completely shocked. The Cloud Sky Pavilion and Earth-Splitting City had increased the price by 2 or 3 times, and added a 9th-grade beast soul pill. A 9th-grade beast soul pill? It was enough to shake the world. In the current world, there was almost no one who could refine a 9th-grade beast soul pill. It could only be left behind from the ancient times. What did a 9th-grade beast soul pill mean? It meant that one could subdue a 9th-grade demonic beast and refine it into a martial spirit. What did a 9th-grade martial spirit mean? It meant that one had a martial grandmaster level martial spirit. Of course, after a 9th-grade demonic beast was refined into a martial spirit, its power would be greatly reduced, but it would at least be an advanced martial grandmaster level martial spirit. What did this mean? This meant that just this 9th-grade beast soul pill could create a top expert in the universe. Of course, it was only a possibility. After all, refining a martial spirit had a certain probability of failure. However, just this possibility was enough to make people go crazy. When the Cloud Sky Pavilion and Earth-Splitting City announced their price, the elder of the World Society was instantly dejected, his face pale. It was obvious that this price was something they could not surpass. Even if they were willing to give up everything, they could not surpass it. Yang Dingtian could clearly feel that Qin Wanshou's breathing had become heavier. This price had far exceeded his expectations. "Kid, what do you think of this astronomical price?" Qin Wanshou smiled at Yang Dingtian. This price was, of course, an astronomical figure. It had far exceeded the value of a yin-yang reincarnation crystal. Not to mention selling it 10 times, it would not even be enough to sell it 20 times. Just when everyone thought that the dust had settled, suddenly, a cold and feminine voice rang out. "My Ning clan of the South Sea is willing to offer a 9th grade superior mystic skill scroll and a supreme grade mystic flame in exchange." When these words were spoken, it was as if a storm had swept through the entire venue. Everyone was shocked to the point of trembling. A 9th grade superior mystic skill scroll? It should only exist in legends. This world had probably not seen a 9th grade superior mystic skill scroll for 200 to 300 years. Currently, the Yin-Yang School and the Black Heavens sect did not even have a 9th grade intermediate mystic skill scroll. Mystic skill scrolls and martial skill scrolls were different. For martial skill scrolls, the higher the grade, the better. If you were given a 9th grade mystic skill scroll, if your mystic meridians were not talented enough, you might not be able to achieve anything in your lifetime. However, mystic skill scrolls were different. The higher the grade, the more powerful the mystic skill scroll. It could be said that if any warrior learned a 9th grade superior mystic skill scroll, no matter how well he learned it, he would be able to defeat an opponent 2 levels higher than him. How shocking was this? Especially for a top expert like Qin Wanshou. Previously, he might not have been a match for Shimin Wuya and Dongfang Minmi. However, after obtaining a 9th grade superior mystic skill scroll, once the battle started, it would be hard to tell who would emerge victorious. Furthermore, mystical skill scrolls would vanish into thin air after learning them. They were completely unique. Not to mention, the Ning clan of the South Sea had a supreme grade mystic flame. A supreme grade mystic flame was not the best mystic flame. However, its value was enough to make the entire world look up to it. More directly, the value of a supreme grade mystic flame was no less than the yin-yang reincarnation crystal. What shocked everyone present was that the Ning clan of the South Sea was not a very powerful force. It was isolated in the sea and was more than 20,000 miles away from the mainland. It was not even in the Tiando League. Furthermore, it was not a powerful force. Everyone present knew very little about the Ning clan of the South Sea. However, they did not expect that they would also come to compete for the yin-yang reincarnation crystal. Hearing the Ning clan of the South Sea's price, everyone turned to look at the bidder. It was a man. However, he was more beautiful than a woman. He was more seductive and feminine. In terms of pure skin, there was probably no woman present who could compare to him. The Cloud Sky Pavilion and Earth-splitting city were just about to be in his hands. However, the Ning clan of the South Sea had interfered. He could not help but say angrily, "If you don't have these things and are only here to cause trouble, what should we do?" The person from the Ning clan of the South Sea did not speak. He directly took out a jade box from his sleeve. He opened the jade box and took out a scroll. Instantly, golden light shot out in all directions. The entire hall was completely enveloped by a mysterious and powerful energy. This energy instantly seeped into everyone's body. Everyone's mystic meridians opened and their energy reserves were filled with thirst. Without a doubt, this was definitely not an ordinary item. This was definitely a superior 9th grade mystic skill scroll. There was no way it could be faked. Instantly, Qin Wanshou's breathing became heavy. It was to the extent that everyone's breathing became heavy. There should be no one who could offer a higher price than the Ning clan of the South Sea. Qin Wanshou regained his composure and said to Yang Dingtian, "Son-in-law, this person's price is already as high as the sky. What's your price? Are you still not going to take it out?" Yang Dingtian was also pondering in his heart. Then, he took out a piece of paper from his sleeve and handed it to Ling Qingchen. He said, "Uncle Master, it's not convenient for me to bid. You can bid on my behalf." Ling Qingchen nodded. After receiving it, she did not look at it herself. Instead, she passed it to Qin Wanchou. Qin Wanchou took the paper without a care. He opened it and did not believe that Yang Dingtian could give a decent price. There were 3 items written on the paper. The first item was a human skin mask. The second item was an ancient sword. The third item was a thunder mystic talisman. In addition, there was a note: "It will teach a set of swordsmanship." This set of swordsmanship is called the Swaying Calamity Crossing Sword. It is guaranteed that the learner will have a stunning effect. After glancing at it, Qin Wanchou's body shook violently. Then, he instantly closed the paper and did not even let his wife see it. Then, as if he could not believe it, he took another look. Then, he quickly burned the whole paper with mystic fire. Yang Dingtian's bid was not eye-catching except that thunder mystic talismans were rare in the world. Moreover, even if thunder mystic talismans were rare in the world, their value could not be compared with the yin-yang reincarnation crystal. Thunder mystic talismans could probably only be used to mystify and surprise people, unlike the yin-yang reincarnation crystal, which could strengthen a sect. However, Yang Dingtian's real bid was to transfer the ownership of Wu Ming, the successor of the hidden sect. That human skin mask was the one that Yang Dingtian used to impersonate Wu Ming. That ancient sword was the ancient sword of the hidden sect. As long as one had thunder mystic talismans, anyone could release thunder mystic talismans. And the biggest symbol of Wu Ming, the successor of the hidden sect, was that he had thunder talent. In addition, the church had the whirling calamity crossing sword that could pass off as the real thing. It could completely display the unique effect of the sword of calamity crossing sword. With these things added together, almost anyone could impersonate Wu Ming, the successor of the hidden sect. Previously, Qin Huayu knew that Yang Dingtian impersonated the successor of the hidden sect, but he would never expose it. His purpose was of course for Qin Cheng to impersonate the successor of the hidden sect. Because as long as he had the identity of the successor of the hidden sect, he could command the world. If used well, the value would far surpass 8 or 10 yin-yang reincarnation crystals. It would even surpass a supreme-grade mystic fire and a 9th-grade superior mystic skill scroll. However, there were risks in doing so. The risks were extremely high. The benefits were also extremely high. The role of the successor of the hidden sect, Wu Ming, in the hands of Yang Dingtian and in the hands of Qin Cheng were vastly different. Previously, Qin Cheng could not get these things, so he could not impersonate Wu Ming. Now, Yang Dingtian actually took the initiative to transfer all of them. There was another point. If Yang Dingtian transferred to Qin Cheng, Qin Wanchou did not have to worry about Yang Dingtian exposing it at all, because Yang Dingtian himself had impersonated Wu Ming before. If he took the initiative to expose it, he would be courting death. "Son-in-law, are you sure?" Qin Wanchou asked. "I'm sure," Yang Dingtian said. "You're using 4 tails to achieve 1,000 caddies," Qin Wanchou said. Qin Wanchou said, "However, perhaps you don't know what kind of earth-shattering effect this thing of yours can have in my hands." Yang Dingtian said with a smile, "I've already said that I support some of your ambitions, father-in-law." Then, Yang Dingtian said in a low voice, "Father-in-law, you should make a decision. Will you accept my offer?" Qin Wanchou closed his eyes and fell into a huge decision. Yang Dingtian's offer was extremely tempting, but it was also extremely dangerous. And the Ning clan of the South Sea's offer was a direct benefit. But to the ambitious Qin Wanchou, Yang Dingtian's offer was truly priceless. Taking a deep breath, Qin Wanchou smiled at Yang Dingtian and said, "Son-in-law, since your martial uncle Ling Qingchen didn't drink enough just now, let's toast him again." As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Qin Wanchou actually chose Ling Qingchen's offer. The World Society, Cloud Sky Pavilion, and Earth-Splitting City all looked disappointed. But the Ning clan of the South Sea was calm as if nothing had happened. Everyone present was extremely curious. What price did Ling Qingchen offer to obtain the yin-yang reincarnation crystal? And the most curious one was naturally Ling Qingchen. A trace of astonishment flashed across his eyes. And everyone present was extremely surprised. The yin-yang school already had a celestial qi condensation purification array. Why did they still want the yin-yang reincarnation crystal? The people from the World Society, Cloud Sky Pavilion, and Earth-Splitting City were furious. Your yin-yang school is already at the top of the world, but you still want to obstruct our path of advancement. Even if we become stronger, it won't affect your yin-yang school's supreme position. In their hearts, the reason why the yin-yang school bid was not to obtain the yin-yang reincarnation crystal. It was because they did not want a fourth school in the world to have a celestial qi condensation array. But no matter how much they grumbled in their hearts, they did not dare to show it. The yin-yang school was supreme in the world. No one dared to offend them. Yang Dingtian raised a cup of wine in front of Ling Qingchen and said, "Martial uncle, please drink." Ling Qingchen took the wine and sniffed it lightly. She smiled and said, "Good wine. But today is your big day. Martial uncle will give you this cup of wine." Then, Ling Qingchen handed the wine to Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian took it and drank it. Instantly, everyone present was in an uproar. Ling Qingchen's actions were very obvious. She was giving the yin-yang reincarnation crystal to Yang Dingtian and to Cloud Sky City. Heavens, what kind of capability did Yang Dingtian have? How could he be given such a precious treasure? Ling Qingchen and the yin-yang school were too generous to Yang Dingtian, right? Even though this was not a suitable place to make a ruckus, there were still people who could not help but discuss. Didn't they say that Yang Dingtian was expelled from the yin-yang school? Why do they think so highly of him? You don't know. Yang Dingtian and the yin-yang school have already reconciled. Previously, Fairy Dongfang personally attended Yang Dingtian's enthronement ceremony. Wow, in that case, who would dare to look down on Yang Dingtian? Who would dare to bully him? Nonsense. Didn't you see that even Overlord Qin betrothed his daughter to him? No matter what. Yang Dingtian had finally obtained the important yin-yang reincarnation crystal. Furthermore, it was given to him by Ling Qingchen personally. Unless Yang Dingtian was willing to sell it, no one in this world would dare to snatch this precious treasure. This was because this auction was not only for the yin-yang reincarnation crystal, but also for the legal right to build the celestial qi condensation purification array. However, no one present believed that Yang Dingtian and Cloud Sky City could build the celestial qi condensation array. Even if the river flowed backward and the sun rose from the west, Yang Dingtian and Cloud Sky City could not build the celestial qi condensation array. Oh, I understand. Elder Ling is unwilling to offend the World Society, Shantian Pavilion, and Earth-Splitting City. He clearly knows that Cloud Sky City can't afford to build the celestial qi condensation array, so he gave it to them. He wants to show that he is not trying to stop the Shantian Pavilion and the other forces from progressing. Instead, he wants to nurture Yang Dingtian. In fact, he is trying to stop the Shantian Pavilion and the other forces from progressing. However, his methods are really brilliant. After a certain friend's analysis, everyone nodded in agreement. Realization dawned on them. In short, this yin-yang reincarnation crystal falling into Yang Dingtian's hands was a good outcome for most of the people present. After all, if Cloud Sky City could not build the celestial qi condensation array, there would not be another force that could quickly rise. Ling Qingchen looked at Yang Dingtian. Little Tian, they all say that you are good at creating miracles. Today, I have finally experienced it. I don't know how you will build this celestial qi condensation array, but I believe that you can still create miracles. I will wait and see. Thank you, Martial Uncle, Yang Dingtian said with a bow. Alright, the show has ended. You have also gotten what you wanted. There is no need to waste time here. You too can enter the bridal chamber now. Qin Wanchou looked at Yang Dingtian with a complicated gaze. Yes. Yang Dingtian raised a cup of wine and said to all the guests, "Everyone, eat and drink well. Cheers." Then, Yang Dingtian drank it all in one gulp. All the guests also drank it all in one gulp. The toast is over. Bride and groom enter the bridal chamber. Inside the bridal chamber, the fragrance was overwhelming and the candlelight was red. Amidst the ambiguous pink atmosphere, only Yang Dingtian and Qin Zhaojiao were left in the bridal chamber. Qin Zhaojiao stood in the room, motionless and expressionless. Every moment of the night is worth 1,000 gold. Let's not waste any more time. Yang Dingtian said. Chapter 370. Looking at the empty box, Yang Dingtian's first thought was that Qin City was behind this. They weren't willing to hand over the yin-yang reincarnation crystals. But thinking about it, it was impossible because he hadn't handed over his lightning-type mystic talisman, nameless human skin mask, and the hidden sex sword, not to mention the fake whirling tribulation sword technique. And seeing that the box was empty, the hair on Qin Huayu's neck stood on end. He took a deep breath, and then a burst of mystic energy exploded from his body. Neither of them were ordinary people. They didn't yell or blame each other. After a few minutes, the two of them looked at each other. This secret room is Qin City's most important secret room, right? If I'm not wrong, it's about 100 feet underground. It's a few miles underground. It's like a maze with countless forks. If you didn't lead the way, I wouldn't have been able to find the right way. Yang Dingtian said. Qin Huayu nodded. Also, there are at least 100 traps along the way. I'm afraid even a Grandmaster-level expert can't block these traps. Yang Dingtian said. Qin Huayu nodded again. Also, there's a Grandmaster-level expert guarding this secret room at all times. Yang Dingtian said. Qin Huayu nodded again. And the box containing the yin-yang reincarnation crystals has a total of 9 layers. Each layer is made of black diamond plated with bloody black gold. Unless it's the sword in my hand, this box is completely invulnerable. Also, this box is cast several feet underground. Yang Dingtian said. Qin Huayu nodded again. But the Grandmaster-level expert guarding it is still here. He didn't notice anything strange at all. And these boxes aren't damaged at all, but the yin-yang reincarnation crystals inside have been taken away. Yang Dingtian said. Qin Huayu nodded again. Then, he licked his lips and said, "I'll report to father immediately." Then, Qin Huayu left with Yang Dingtian and reported to Qin Wanchou as quickly as possible. Qin Wanchou listened to Qin Huayu expressionlessly. Then, the muscles on his face twitched. "Father, what should we do? Should we immediately put the city under martial law?" Qin Huayu asked. "Martial law? What are you trying to do? Even if De Gushao is standing in front of you right now, what can you do?" Qin Wanchou said, "Don't do anything, and don't tell anyone. Just pretend that nothing happened. Then let's just forget about it." "Is he going to steal our yin-yang samsara crystals for nothing?" Qin Huayu asked. "Wrong, it's not stolen, it's snatched," Qin Wanchou said. "Don't use the word thief on De Gushao. Then our Qin city is too weak," Qin Huayu said. "Don't worry, he'll give me an explanation," Qin Wanchou said. "Furthermore, this is also your fault. Back in the Dongli grassland, you guys abandoned Dugu Fengwu and ran away. Even if he snatched the yin-yang reincarnation crystal, it would be a slight punishment to Qin City." Sigh. Following that, Qin Wanchou sighed and said, "Yang Dingtian, you don't have to give me your lightning attribute mystic talisman, hidden sex treasured sword, and that sword art. Once the yin-yang samsara crystals are in your hands, you can give them to me." Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, "There's no need. I'll give them to senior brother Qin now." "Senior brother Qin, come with me to get the items," Yang Dingtian said. Qin Huayu was slightly startled and said, "Brother, you don't have to do this. De Gushao took the yin-yang samsara crystals because of me. It doesn't have much to do with you guys." Yang Dingtian said, I'm also hoping to express to you guys that I'm now in a marriage alliance with Qin City. Regardless of whether I'm willing or not, I'll definitely abide by certain agreements. Even if I have to fall out with you guys in the future, I'll still tell you. Qin Huayu glanced at his father and nodded forcefully, I know. Then, Qin Huayu followed Yang Dingtian to get the items. At this moment, Qin Wanchou suddenly said, Yang Dingtian, even if you're so magnanimous, when Qin Chi attacks Chenya, you'll still be on the verge of death. However, when Qin Chi returns to the northwest continent in the future and makes a move on you, I won't stop her. You must be clear about this. However, I can guarantee that I won't do anything myself. I understand, Yang Dingtian said. Since I'm supporting senior brother Qin, I'll naturally be Qin Chi's enemy. After leaving Qin Wanchou's room, Qin Huayu didn't have anything. After arriving at the Yang estate, he brought Qin Huayu to the main hall and said, Senior brother, wait here for a moment. I'll go in and get something. Alright, Qin Huayu said. Yang Dingtian walked into the inner room and pretended to rummage through the cabinets, but in reality, he took out a box from his interspatial ring. Carrying the box out, Yang Dingtian said with a smile in front of Qin Huayu, I hope that after I open this box, it won't be a slip of paper. Qin Huayu said with a smile, then don't open it, I'll take the box away. Qin Huayu's meaning was very clear. Even if it was an empty box, Qin Huayu would think that there were thunder talismans and swords inside. That won't do, Yang Dingtian said. Then, he opened the box. The items inside were still there. He had always kept them in his interspatial ring. Even immortals couldn't take them away. This is the ancient sword of the hidden sect. Yang Dingtian handed over the sword. Then, he took out a small box and opened it. Inside was a transparent blue jade talisman. There was a faint electric current flashing. Seeing this jade talisman, Qin Huayu couldn't help but breathe heavily. This was an extremely rare item. Even if Qin City was the richest in the world, they didn't have this. This is a thunder talisman. Yang Dingtian put the jade talisman back into the box and handed it over. This is nameless human skin mask. This scroll is about the experience of counterfeiting the swaying Calamity Crossing sword. There are about 10 to 20,000 words. It clearly states how to make the special effects of the hidden sect sword technique. However, this is all for show. Don't use it to fight. It wastes your profound chi and has no lethality. It can only be used to scare people. Yang Dingtian said with a smile and handed over the booklet. All the items were handed over. After Qin Huayu took the items, he bowed deeply and said, Brother, I can't thank you enough. In the future, I will let you see clearly. If I really open my heart, Qin Huayu will not let you down. Then, Qin Huayu said, This thing is too precious. I have to immediately take it and hide it in the treasury. I will take my leave first. As for Duan Ruyan, I will come to you next time. See you in the afternoon. Yang Dingtian said. Then, Qin Huayu turned and left. Yang Dingtian sat on the chair and closed his eyes, thinking about Dugu Zhao's note. The huge surprise he mentioned. What was going on? Could it be that the scales on Dugu Aoshuang's face were healed? It shouldn't be that. To Yang Dingtian, this wasn't considered a huge surprise at all. However, if he wanted to take back this yin-yang reincarnation crystal, he would probably have to make a trip to the Temple of Blood. Moreover, he originally wanted to head in that direction because the mystic vein essence that Master said was in the extreme north and had to pass through the Temple of Blood. The reason why Dongfang Bingling asked him to go together was because they had to pass through the heart of the evil ways. It was simply too dangerous. However, if Dugu Zhao wanted to kill him, he would have done so long ago. There probably wouldn't be any danger to his life this time. Moreover, even if Dugu Zhao wanted to kill Yang Dingtian, he could do it anywhere and didn't need to go to the Temple of Blood at all. However, Yang Dingtian couldn't think of that so-called huge surprise no matter how hard he racked his brains. Immediately after, Yang Dingtian recalled that when he went to meet Qin Wanchou, he had already sent someone to send Qin Zhaojiao to his Yang residence. Because from today onwards, she would be a member of the Yang clan and wouldn't be able to stay in the Qin palace. Why didn't he see Qin Zhaojiao after entering the Qin residence? Right at this moment, he seemed to have heard Qin Zhaojiao's voice. She was extremely terrified and her voice was trembling. Instantly, Yang Dingtian opened his eyes abruptly. He saw Qin Zhaojiao as expected. Qin Zhaojiao, who was in extreme fear. Apart from Qin Zhaojiao, there was another person, a handsome, confident, and unrestrained middle-aged man. The great demon of the Temple of Blood, one of the leaders of the evil ways, and one of the few remaining grandmasters in the world, De Gushao. He was sitting opposite Yang Dingtian while Qin Zhaojiao stood in front of him and kept trembling. She even felt like she was about to pee in her pants. Her entire face was completely pale and colorless. At this moment, De Gushao was playing with something in his hand. It was a round ball that was half black and half white. Two types of energy were constantly circulating. This thing was about the size of a fist and looked extremely mysterious. It was like a small planet with the scenery inside constantly changing. The moment this thing appeared, Yang Dingtian felt that the surrounding mystic qi seemed to have become much purer. This was the treasure of heaven and earth that heaven and earth spent 10,000 years to condense, the yin-yang reincarnation crystal. Even if Cloud Heaven City was sold 10 times over, they still wouldn't be able to afford the yin-yang reincarnation crystal. Even if Ground Fisher City spent 1,500 miles of territory, hundreds of ships, billions of gold coins, and thousands of flying cavalry to obtain the yin-yang reincarnation crystal. Yang Dingtian went forward and bowed deeply. Yang Dingtian greets Senior Dugu. N. Dugu Shao said, "You saw the note I left behind?" "Yes," Yang Dingtian said. "Actually, when I came to Qin City to take this thing, Qin Wanchou felt it," Dugu Shao said. "But he didn't stop me." "Do you know what that means?" "I know." Yang Dingtian, between grandmasters, unless it's a life and death battle, they won't fall out with each other. "And, since you know this, you're more or less the same as an expert." Dugu Shao said, "After I took this yin-yang reincarnation crystal, I came to your house and even slept in your house last night." Then, Dugu Zhao's gaze landed on Qin Zhaojiao. "But just now, perhaps your newlywed wife thought I was someone to you and pointed at me and called me an old fart. Let me say something, you'll probably be beaten by Yang Dingtian in the future like this." In the end, she slapped me. If I hadn't dodged quickly, I'm afraid I would have been hit. I've never been slapped in my entire life. When he said this, Qin Zhaojiao was so scared that she almost collapsed to the ground. Yang Dingtian was also shocked. Who was this Qin Zhaojiao? She even dared to slap a super demon like Dugu Shao. In the Dongli grassland, Qin Huayu abandoned Feng Wu at a critical moment and she almost died there. I came to Qin City this time to settle the score. Now that Qin Wanchou's daughter has come to provoke me, what do you think I should do?" Dugu Shao said. "Yang Dingtian, Qin Zhaojiao is young and doesn't know anything. You're a grandmaster, you mustn't lower yourself to her level." "No, I'm a petty person." Dugu Shao said, "So, I plan to skin this woman alive to vent the hatred in my heart." "Ah!" Qin Zhaojiao cried out and was about to faint. Then, Dugu Shao said, "Yang Dingtian, my left hand has the yin-yang reincarnation crystal and my right hand has Qin Zhaojiao. Make a choice, do you want the yin-yang reincarnation crystal or Qin Zhaojiao? If you want the reincarnation crystal, I'll give it to you now and skin Qin Zhaojiao on the spot. If you want Qin Zhaojiao, I'll take this reincarnation crystal." With that, Dugu Xia placed his palm on top of Qin Zhaojiao's head, his fingernails gently scratching her head as he said lazily, "Dig your fingernails into her scalp and tear it apart. You'll be able to peel off her skin completely and she'll still be alive. She'll be bloody and will jump around and scream." Qin Zhaojiao fell to the ground in despair. Her beautiful eyes turned white as she collapsed to the ground. In her opinion, she was definitely dead. Yang Dingtian would definitely choose the yin-yang reincarnation crystal. Moreover, even if Qin Zhaojiao died in Dugu Zhao's hands, Qin Wanchou wouldn't take revenge for her. Yang Dingtian was speechless. He smiled and said, I choose Qin Zhaojiao. He didn't even have any suspense. After Dugu Zhao said that, Yang Dingtian pointed at Qin Zhaojiao. Qin Zhaojiao, who was almost unconscious, opened her eyes and looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief. You really choose Qin Zhaojiao? Dugu Zhao said, then I'll crush this yin-yang reincarnation crystal. Ah! Yang Dingtian exclaimed. Senior, didn't you say that I have to make a trip to the Temple of Blood to get the reincarnation crystal? You didn't say to destroy the reincarnation crystal. I changed my mind. Can't I? I'm unhappy with your hypocritical appearance. Can't I? Dugu Zhao said, I'll give you another chance to choose now. Do you want the reincarnation crystal or Qin Zhaojiao? With that, he held the reincarnation crystal in one hand and grabbed Qin Zhaojiao's head with the other. This time, Yang Dingtian was really in a difficult situation. This was the reincarnation crystal, and he paid an incomparable price to obtain it. Even if he didn't build the mystic Qi condensation purification array himself, he could exchange it for countless benefits by transferring it to the South Sea Ning clan, Earth-splitting city, or Cloud Sky Pavilion. As for this Qin Zhaojiao, he married her completely out of helplessness. He really didn't like her and hated her instead. Frowning hard, Yang Dingtian gritted his teeth and said, I'd better choose Qin Zhaojiao. Qin Zhaojiao suddenly trembled as if she had forgotten her fear. She looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief. She really didn't expect that Yang Dingtian would really choose her. This wasn't an act now. This great demon before her would really crush the yin-yang reincarnation crystal. Alright, this is your choice. Dugu Zhao sneered and then squeezed with his left hand. Puchi. Instantly, the yin-yang reincarnation crystal in his hand shattered completely. Countless fragments and powder splattered everywhere. No. Yang Dingtian's heart ached so much that he screamed and immediately fell back to his seat. Looking at the yin-yang reincarnation crystal that had turned into powder, he really wanted to cry. This thing had an immeasurable effect on him, reviving Cloud Sky City. Moreover, this one was crushed. Who knew how many years it would be before the next yin-yang reincarnation crystal was dug out? See, you regret it now, Dugu Zhao said. This is the consequence of pretending to be righteous. You people from the Tiando League are too hypocritical. Our evil ways are so real and straightforward. We kill and destroy as we wish. We're not hypocritical at all. How unruly are we? Yang Dingtian smiled helplessly. My heart hurts so much, but I don't regret it. If a person's thoughts aren't restrained and they can do whatever they want, then what's the difference between them and a beast? Dugu Zhao sneered, expressing his disdain. Then, Yang Dingtian looked at Dugu Zhao and said, even if it's you, aren't you also restrained by many things? How can you be truly unruly? Otherwise, you wouldn't have appeared here today. Otherwise, that day at the Temple of Blood, you would have killed me with a palm strike. Dugu Zhao instantly fell silent. He stared at Yang Dingtian and said coldly, now, I really regret not killing you with a palm strike back then. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in such a passive position today. Then, he took out a jade ball from his sleeve. It looked exactly the same as the one just now, except that it was more mysterious and lively. Very obviously, the one that Dugu Zhao had crushed earlier was a fake. This was the real yin-yang reincarnation crystal. Of course, he wouldn't specially make a fake reincarnation crystal for Yang Dingtian to put on a show in such a short period of time. He had made this fake long ago. Originally, he was going to replace the real one in Qin City's treasure vault. However, he simply took the reincarnation crystal and couldn't be bothered to replace it. He even left behind a note. Remember, hurry to the Temple of Blood within 5 days. Otherwise, I will crush this yin-yang reincarnation crystal immediately. This time, I will not put on a show with you. If you don't make it in 5 days, not only will I crush this thing, but I will also go to Cloud Heaven City and kill all your relatives. I mean what I say, Dugu Xiao said coldly. Yang Dingtian, don't force me to kill your entire family. Then, as if he had teleported, he quickly disappeared. Yang Dingtian chased after him and shouted, Senior, you have to tell me why you are going to the Temple of Blood, right? Dugu Fengwu is about to die. She is waiting for you to save her. Dugu Xiao said coldly, his tone filled with rage. Then, Dugu Xiao instantly vanished without a trace. What? Dugu Fengwu is about to die. How can that be? It can't be, right? Yang Dingtian was instantly stunned. However, this Dugu Xiao wasn't a gentleman. The words that he said might not be true. At this moment, Qin Jiaojiao, who was on the ground, suddenly said coldly, Yang Dingtian, you are such a hypocrite. Don't think that I will be deceived by you. Don't think that I will change my opinion of you. Yang Dingtian looked at Qin Jiaojiao, who was paralyzed on the ground, and said, Stupid woman, you are so scared that you peed your pants. Thank you, brothers. Chapter 371. Qin Jiaojiao suddenly felt extremely embarrassed and covered her face with both hands. Then, she raged, one day, I will tear Dugu Xiao into pieces to get rid of today's humiliation. With that, Yang Dingtian was completely speechless. His newly married wife was truly shameless. When Dugu Xiao was around, she was so scared that she didn't even dare to say a word. Now that he was gone, she was still boasting shamelessly. Is that so? Then, in order to not be torn into pieces by you in the future, do I have to tear you into pieces now? Suddenly, Dugu Xiao's unique voice resounded in the air. It was awe-inspiring and intimidating. Ah! Qin Jiaojiao exclaimed in shock. She was so scared that she forgot about her legs and quickly got up to run. She stumbled and ran out of the back door. Just as she ran out of the back door, she bumped into someone. She didn't even have time to scold the person and continued running. Ha ha ha. Yang Dingtian laughed loudly behind her because he had faked Dugu Xiao's voice just now. Qin Jiaojiao quickly reacted and turned around. Dugu Xiao was nowhere to be seen in the house. There was only Yang Dingtian. It was obvious that Yang Dingtian had faked Dugu Xiao's voice to scare her. Yang Dingtian, I'll fight it out with you. Qin Jiaojiao pounced forward and waved her fingernails, clawing at Yang Dingtian's face. Yang Dingtian grabbed her hand and lifted her up by the waist, walking into the house. As he walked, he asked Mu Lianyi, what's the matter? Mu Lianyi couldn't help but look at the wet spot on Qin Jiaojiao's dress and her expression became strange. She didn't return to Cloud Sky City but followed Yang Dingtian to Qin City. However, she had been in a cold war with Yang Dingtian. Every day, he would pour tea, change clothes, and cook, but he wouldn't give her a good face or smile. Time to eat. Upon hearing Yang Dingtian's question, Mu Lianyi replied stiffly, her gaze still fixed on Qin Jiaojiao's dress. What are you looking at? Little bitch, be careful or I'll gouge your eyes out. Qin Jiaojiao was clamped between Yang Dingtian's legs, but she was still as fierce as ever. Ah! But before Qin Jiaojiao could finish her vicious words, she cried out in pain. Yang Dingtian slapped the fleshy part of her thigh and said coldly, remember, Lianyi is the closest person to me. If you dare to scold her like this in the future, I'll slap you. For some reason, Qin Jiaojiao started tearing up after being yelled at by Yang Dingtian. She felt extremely wronged, but she didn't know why. I'm just a lowly maid. How can I compare to Madame Qin's precious body? Madame Qin wants to kill us, cut us, gouge out our eyes, and cut out our tongues. We don't dare to resist, said Mu Lianyi. Encountering this tsundere Mu Lianyi, Yang Dingtian suddenly had a headache and said, is there any more hot water? Bring Qin Jiaojiao to wash her body. What's with the smell of urine? Sorry, I'm not free. Mu Lianyi twisted her body and walked out even more tsundere. Yang Dingtian, is this your family's servant? She really doesn't have any manners. Qin Zhaojiao sneered. Yang Dingtian decided not to clamp her waist. Like catching a cat, he grabbed her by the neck and dragged her into the room. Qin Zhaojiao cried out in pain and struggled with all her might. She scolded, Yang Dingtian, I'm going to tear you into pieces. I'm going to tear you into pieces. Yang Dingtian prepared the water and sprinkled it on the fragrance. Then, he threw her into the bathtub. Wash up properly. Otherwise, if others smell your body, I guarantee that you won't be able to raise your head in Cloud Heaven City for the rest of your life, Yang Dingtian said. Ah! Ah! Qin Zhaojiao fell into the water and drank a few mouthfuls. She struggled to get up and pounced on Yang Dingtian. She bared her fangs and brandished her claws. Bastard, I'm going to fight it out with you. I'm going to fight it out with you, hurry up and take a bath. Don't pester me endlessly. Otherwise, I'll throw you out like this, Yang Dingtian said. No, you have to apologize to me. You have to apologize to me. Qin Zhaojiao tugged at Yang Dingtian and said rudely. Apologize to you? Dream on. Yang Dingtian said coldly. Qin Zhaojiao tugged at Yang Dingtian's clothes with all her might and stared at him. Apologize to me. Otherwise, I won't let you off. Looking at her valiant appearance, Yang Dingtian sighed and said, apologizing is impossible. But I slept with you yesterday, but I haven't kissed you yet. It's very embarrassing that you're so scared today. It fully shows that you're tough on the outside but weak on the inside. However, it also makes me feel that you're a little cute. This isn't easy. I used to hate you. With that, Yang Dingtian planted a kiss on her delicate red lips. Qin Zhaojiao seemed to have been electrocuted and was stunned for a moment. All right, take a bath obediently. I'll wait for you to eat. I also have a little surprise for you. Yang Dingtian patted her face gently and broke free from her hand. Qin Zhaojiao stood there in a daze and watched Yang Dingtian leave. Then, her entire face flushed red. Her entire body felt numb, spreading from the depths of her heart. But immediately after, Qin Zhaojiao felt that she was too useless. She immediately looked at Yang Dingtian's back and said, I don't need you to think that I'm cute. Who are you to me? This was her, Qin Zhaojiao's, first kiss. At the dining table, there were only Yang Dingtian and Qin Zhaojiao. Li Guinong stayed in the Qin palace as a guest today. Mu Lianyi stood at the side coldly and waited on them. Lianyi, you sit down too, Yang Dingtian said. There's a difference between master and servant. I don't dare, Mu Lianyi said, her tone still stiff. Yang Dingtian frowned and said indifferently, sit down. Mu Lianyi's delicate body trembled, and she lowered her head and said, yes. Humph. Qin Zhaojiao saw a maid sitting together and eating and immediately snorted in dissatisfaction. Yang Dingtian ate his own food and ignored the two sulking women. After eating halfway, Yang Dingtian said loudly, has young Lord Qin sent those two people over? Yes, City Lord, the warrior outside said loudly. Send them in, Yang Dingtian said. Yes. About a few minutes later, a man and a woman were brought in. It was Qin Susu and Qin Huayu. When she saw Yang Dingtian, Qin Susu's expression changed drastically and her beautiful face instantly turned pale. As for the one who called himself Qin Huayu, he was slightly stunned at first, then as if he thought of Yang Dingtian, he revealed an expression of disbelief. When Qin Zhaojiao saw Qin Susu, she was also completely stunned and forgot to eat for a moment. Qin Susu, Yang Dingtian said. Yes. Qin Susu replied in a pitiful voice and kowtowed to the ground. Today, she rose from hell to heaven and was accepted as the legitimate daughter and was to be betrothed to the world society's young lord. She wasn't originally so frivolous, but this change was too big. She was too proud and her hatred for Qin Zhaojiao was too strong, so she couldn't help but show off and mock her in front of Qin Zhaojiao. But who knew that this Yang Ding Tian that she looked down on, with just one sentence, made her go from heaven to hell again. She went from the legitimate daughter to the illegitimate daughter again, from the wife of the world society's young lord to a servant. From now on, you will be my wife, Qin Jiaojiao's personal maid, understand? Yang Dingtian said. Yes. Qin Susu's face was pale and she trembled. This servant will definitely serve Madam well. Qin Jiaojiao was stunned. Today, Qin Susu humiliated her and made her feel what pain was. At that time, not only did Yang Dingtian not help her vent her anger, he even mocked her. She was really disappointed in her heart. But she didn't expect that this afternoon, Yang Dingtian would help her vent her anger to such an extent. He directly sent the arrogant Qin Jiaojiao to hell and sent her here to be a maid. Suddenly, Qin Jiaojiao couldn't help but look at Yang Dingtian, her beautiful face couldn't help but blush. Maybe, he can completely protect me in the future, let me continue to order him around, let me be high and mighty. Jiaojiao, she is your younger sister after all. You have to treat her better in the future, understand? Yang Dingtian said. Qin Jiaojiao instinctively wanted to agree, but she felt that she was too spineless to be obedient so quickly. She couldn't help but turn her face away and said coldly, I don't need you to care about my matters. Yang Dingtian ignored her and directly asked Qin Huayu, Brother Qin, what is your real name? This Qin Huayu was extremely agitated and felt that everything was unreal. 2 years ago, this person in front of him was still a wandering wanderer in dire straits. He really didn't expect this person to be Yang Dingtian. The reason why he had such a deep impression of him was because he was very good at picking up girls back then. Furthermore, he stepped on Qin Huayu's shoulders to gain the favor of that Shui Hongxiao. But he didn't expect this person to be such an outstanding Yang Dingtian. He was actually the Lord of Cloud Heaven City and one of the undisputed young leaders in the world. At this moment, his status was like heaven and earth. This lowly servant's name is Qin Ergu, this Qin Huayu said with a trembling voice. You and I met at the foot of immeasurable mountain. From now on, you will be called Qin Wuliang. From now on, you will follow me. I will treat your leg and you will practice martial arts in Cloud Heaven City. As long as you work hard enough, I believe that you will make everyone who looks down on you look up to you and make everyone who has hurt you look up to you in fear, Yang Dingtian said. Immediately, the newly named Qin Ergu sobbed and knocked his head on the hard floor, never to get up again. After Yang Dingtian finished eating, he stood up and said, Jiao, we will be returning to Cloud Heaven City tomorrow. You can accompany your mother this afternoon, and you can also say goodbye to your friends. Where are you going? Qin Jiaojiao asked directly because she felt that she couldn't bear for Yang Dingtian to leave. Deep in her heart, she wanted Yang Dingtian to continue to accompany her. Then, she said angrily, there is no good person in Qin City. I don't have anyone to say goodbye to. I'm going out for a while. You have to be good at home. Don't bully Lieni or your sister, understand? Yang Dingtian said. It's none of your business, Qin Jiaojiao said fiercely. Yang Dingtian pinched her nose and walked out. Seeing Yang Dingtian leave, Qin Jiaojiao felt a little disappointed. She thought that Yang Dingtian would kiss her before he left. But then, she slapped herself again. Beat you up, you useless thing. You were caught so quickly. Then, she said to Qin Susu, who was on the ground, Susu, get up and sit down to eat. And Wuliang, you get up too. Yes, thank you, mistress. Qin Susu respectfully sat down carefully. Humph. Mu Lieni was instantly disdainful. Qin Jiaojiao, this slut, only knows how to rope in Qin Susu to isolate her. When we return to Cloud Sky City, I'll let you see how powerful I am when Miss Yan Yan and I work together. I'll definitely make you, this shameless woman, suffer. Yang Dingtian and Qin Huayu rode side by side towards Qin Castle. The previous pavilion master of Sky Phoenix Pavilion, Duan Rian, was locked up in Qin Castle's dungeon. After saving Duan Rian, Yang Dingtian changed back to Cloud Sky City the next day and rushed to the Temple of Blood in the shortest time possible. After entering Qin Castle, they arrived at the most magnificent and largest house in the center. A secret door opened on the thick wall. Then, they went down the steps. After going down tens of meters, they finally saw a row of neat cells. There were 2 words written on the cells: Martial Supreme. Without a doubt, the people locked up in this row of dungeons were all Martial Supreme experts. Yang Dingtian counted and there were more than 100 cells. In other words, there were more than 100 Martial Supreme experts locked up in Qin City's dungeon. Then, they went down another floor. There were 2 words written on this floor of the dungeon: Grandmaster. There were more than a dozen Grandmaster experts locked up in this floor of the dungeon. Qin City was too terrifying. There were less than 100 Grandmaster experts in the entire world, and there were actually 10 of them locked up here. When they arrived at a cell, Qin Huayu handed the key to Yang Dingtian. Duan Rian hates me to the core, so I won't be going in. Yang Dingtian took the key, opened the cell door, and walked in. Inside, a woman was sitting cross-legged on a stone bed. She had a head of white hair, but she was extremely beautiful. Her body was plump, and she looked like she was in her 30s. She was a Grandmaster, the previous Pavilion Master of Sky Phoenix Pavilion, Duan Rian. Yang Dingtian could not help but be shocked. This Duan Rian was at least 50 years old. She was obviously Ning Rou's master, but she looked like Ning Rou's elder sister. Seeing Yang Dingtian enter, Duan Rian suddenly raised her head, and a cold light flashed in her beautiful eyes. In an instant, her white hair wrapped around her entire body. Then, she rushed in front of Yang Dingtian like lightning, and her sharp claws were like lightning, grabbing at Yang Dingtian's neck. Her sharp claws were extremely sharp, and with a whistling sound, they were right in front of his eyes. Yang Dingtian quickly retreated and said in shock, "What's going on? Didn't this Duan Rian lose all her martial arts? How can she be so powerful? Could it be that Qin Huayu wants to harm me?" But then, Qin Huayu heard the noise outside and immediately rushed over. "Brother, what's going on?" Swoosh! Yang Dingtian's figure retreated quickly, but his neck was still slashed. Suddenly, a burning pain came from his neck. Duan Rian's sharp claws pierced at his eyes even more fiercely. Chapter 372. Seeing Duan Rian's sharp claws piercing towards him, Yang Dingtian raised his sword and quickly blocked in front of him. Dang! There was a crisp sound and sparks flew everywhere. Duan Rian's sharp claws directly grabbed onto Yang Dingtian's sword hilt. At this moment, Yang Dingtian realized that although Duan Rian's moves were frighteningly sharp, her cultivation had completely regressed. She was only left with a few tenths of her strongest state. "Martial Uncle Duan, I am Yang Dingtian, Dongfang Minni's disciple," Yang Dingtian said loudly. Then, Yang Dingtian stepped back and said, "Senior brother Qin, you don't have to come in. I'm fine." Qin Huayu immediately stopped and stood outside the door, ready to rush in at any time. After hearing Yang Dingtian's words, Duan Rian stopped attacking and stared at Yang Dingtian. She said coldly, "You are really Yang Dingtian? How can this be fake?" Yang Dingtian said, "If you are Yang Dingtian, aren't you Qin City's enemy? Why are you here?" Duan Rian asked. "I have already formed an alliance with senior brother Qin Huayu, and I am marrying Qin Zhaozhao as my concubine," Yang Dingtian said. "Humph." Duan Rian said coldly, "How can senior brother Dongfang have such a useless disciple like you?" Yang Dingtian didn't explain and only smiled. "Even if you are Yang Dingtian, what are you doing here?" Duan Rian said coldly. "I am here to heal you, restore your cultivation, and then let you out," Yang Dingtian said. "You?" Duan Rian looked at Yang Dingtian and sneered, "With just you? First question, what is your identity? What do you have to make Qin Wanchou let me go?" Yang Dingtian said, "I am now Cloud Sky City's lord." In order to protect Cloud Sky City from being annexed by Qin City, I chose to cooperate with Qin Huayu. The current Heavenly Phoenix Pavilion Master is Leng Yanmei. If I'm not wrong, her relationship with you should be very hostile. At this moment, she has fully cooperated with Qin Chi and helped Sky Phoenix Pavilion to become Qin City's war chariot. At this moment, she has almost swept through the entire southwest continent. Idiot! Leng Yanmei will destroy the entire Sky Phoenix Pavilion. Sky Phoenix Pavilion's uniqueness has determined that Sky Phoenix Pavilion can only be conservative and antisocial. Only then can Sky Phoenix Pavilion exist for eternity. Duan Rian said coldly, "What does this have to do with letting me out?" Qin Huayu and Qin Chi are fighting for the right to inherit Qin City. Because Qin Huayu is a man, he has a natural advantage. However, he was defeated in the grasslands of Dongli last time, causing him to fall into a passive position. If he allowed Qin Chi to take over the entire southwest continent, he would be in danger of losing his position as the successor. Therefore, in order to prevent Qin Chi from successfully seizing the entire southwest continent, we will release you and restore your cultivation base. We will allow you to return to the Sky Phoenix Pavilion as the Pavilion Master. This way, Sky Phoenix Pavilion will immediately change its direction and continue to be conservative and antisocial. This way, Qin Chi will not be able to seize the entire southwest continent. Yang Dingtian said. Duan Rian was silent for a moment before she stared at Yang Dingtian. This clearly goes against Qin City's interests. Why did Qin Wanchou agree? I don't know why, but he agreed. Yang Dingtian said, however, there is another condition. Martial Uncle Duan, after 100 years, you have to pass the position of Pavilion Master to Senior Sister Ning Ro. Impossible. Her cultivation base has already been destroyed. After she was defiled by that bastard Qin Huayu, her cultivation base was completely destroyed. Duan Rian said. Following that, Duan Rian said sternly, "Bastard outside, immediately scram far away. Don't let me hear your breathing." Outside, Qin Huayu silently left until he reached a place where Duan Rian could no longer sense his aura. But I have already cured Senior Sister Ning. She is already an 8-star martial ancestor. She can completely inherit your mantle. Yang Dingtian said. Impossible. Duan Rian grabbed Yang Dingtian and said, Ro's cultivation base has been destroyed. It is the pain of my life. I have already tried my best to recover, but I am unable to. How can you recover her cultivation base with just you? Whether her cultivation base has been recovered or not, you will be able to see it when you go out. Yang Dingtian said. Impossible. The women of Sky Phoenix Pavilion cannot lose their virginity, much less become pregnant. This has been the rule for hundreds of years. As long as they lose their virginity, their cultivation base will be destroyed. No one has known the reason for this for hundreds of years. How can you find the reason and cure her? Duan Rian said. The reason is very simple. Yang Dingtian said, because the cultivation method of Sky Phoenix Pavilion is a pure yin cultivation method. During the cultivation process, the Xian meridians and Qi Si will become pure and will gradually become pure yin meridians. This is of course a good thing for cultivators. However, such pure Xian meridians cannot be contaminated. Therefore, after Senior Sister Ning Ro lost her virginity, the inner wall of her Qi Si was contaminated by a man's yang energy, causing the permeability of the inner wall of her Qi Si to be greatly damaged. Therefore, pure Xian Qi can still enter, but turbid Xian Qi can no longer enter the Qi Si. This is also the reason why Ning Ro's world can still cultivate normally, but she has lost all her martial arts. Instantly, Duan Rian was stunned. Yang Dingtian's theory was too convincing. As soon as he said it, Duan Rian already believed it in her heart. Then how did you cure Ro? Duan Rian asked.
It is refined from tens of thousands of kilograms of seawater from the celestial Red Sea. Yang Dingtian said. Duan Rian was truly shocked. Yang Dingtian, your omniscience is completely beyond my imagination. Then, Duan Ruyan said sadly, since you know that it is darkness crystal, then you should know that it is completely incurable. Even immortals may not be able to save me. Yang Dingtian heaved a sigh of relief. Uncle Master Duan, I just happen to be able to save you from this darkness crystal. How is that possible? Duan Ruyan said in disbelief. Yang Dingtian, don't try to comfort me. I have already accepted my fate. Uncle Master Duan, I really can save you. Yang Dingtian said, in fact, my wife, Shimin Yanyan, was poisoned by the darkness crystal and her cultivation was completely destroyed. I have already completely cured her a few months ago, and her cultivation has already recovered a lot. She has been poisoned for 6 to 7 years, and you have only been poisoned for less than 2 years. The chances of a complete recovery are very high. How is that possible? Duan Ruyan said in a trembling voice, could it be that Shimin Yanyan wasn't poisoned by the darkness crystal? This thing is extremely rare, why would it be used on a little girl? It was originally intended to be used on Uncle Master Shimin Wuya, but Yanyan was poisoned by mistake. Yang Dingtian said, as for whether I can cure you, we will see very soon. Then, Yang Dingtian came behind Duan Ruyan and said, Uncle Master Duan, let go of your hair. I need to press my palm on your sea of vital energy. Duan Ruyan hesitated for a moment. Then, she clenched her teeth and loosened her snow-white hair. Immediately, her voluptuous body was completely exposed in front of Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian sat cross-legged behind Duan Ruyan and pressed his palm on her sea of vital energy. Duan Ruyan's delicate body trembled. She had always maintained her chastity, and her pure body had never been touched by a man before. Yang Dingtian didn't bother to explain. Otherwise, it would be even more awkward. He gently released a bit of profound fire and used the yin-yang energy transformation art to refine it into pure energy. Then, he mixed it with countless wraiths and entered Duan Ruyan's body. Yang Dingtian's energy quickly entered Duan Ruyan's sea of vital energy along the short distance of her profound veins. Soon, Yang Dingtian opened his eyes and said, Uncle Master Duan, you weren't poisoned by the darkness crystal. What? Is there something else? Duan Ruyan said, but it doesn't matter if you can't cure me. Uncle Master is already grateful that you have the heart. No, there is no other poison. Yang Dingtian said, the poison you were poisoned by is a kind of gas that hasn't condensed into a darkness crystal. It was also refined from the water of the celestial Red Sea, but it hasn't condensed into a darkness crystal.
Therefore, its power is only a few tenths of the darkness crystal. Therefore, it is very easy to cure. Since it's not a darkness crystal, why is it so powerful? Duan Ruyan asked. Because this darkness crystal mist isn't inside your sea of vital energy. It shrouds the surface of your sea of vital energy and blocks all the connections between your profound veins and your sea of vital energy. Therefore, whether it is the profound energy that enters or exits, most of it is swallowed by this darkness crystal mist, which is why your cultivation is greatly weakened. I was just saying that this darkness crystal is extremely precious, how could there be a few of them? If my guess is correct, the darkness crystal mist in your body should be the impurities refined from the darkness crystal that murdered Uncle Master Shimin Wuya. Yang Dingtian said. Humph. Duan Ruyan snorted coldly, as if she was angry that she couldn't be poisoned by the true darkness crystal. She felt that her identity was being humiliated. She, the Grand Heavenly Phoenix Pavilion Master, was actually poisoned by the impurities refined from the darkness crystal. Yang Dingtian felt that Duan Ruyan, a master of the generation, was hiding a childlike temperament inside her heart and couldn't help but secretly laugh. Alright, Uncle Master Duan, I'm going to force out all the darkness crystal mist that is blocking the connection between your sea of vital energy and profound veins. Yang Dingtian said. How? Can I force it out myself? Duan Ruyan asked. You can't. Yang Dingtian said, the darkness crystal is the highest level of energy. No matter what you do, the only result is that your energy will be swallowed by it. You can only force it out by taking out something with a higher level of energy. Then, Yang Dingtian summoned the darkness profound flame from his soul ring. This darkness profound flame immediately attracted Duan Rian's attention. After all, she was a master of the generation and could immediately see the terrifying power of this black flame. What is this? Duan Rian asked in a low voice. This is a brand new profound flame formed after the million spirit demon flame and the darkness crystal merged. I call it the darkness profound flame. Yang Dingtian said. Duan Rian looked at this profound flame and almost couldn't breathe. After a long time, she said, remember, don't let any living enemy see your darkness profound flame. And then, Yang Dingtian said. Then, Yang Dingtian held the darkness profound flame in his palm and approached Duan Rian's chi vessel. Martial ant, I'm going in. Yang Dingtian said, it might be a little uncomfortable. And then Duan Rian said. Swoosh. Yang Dingtian clapped his palm and directly forced the darkness profound flame into Duan Rian's profound veins. Swoosh. Duan Rian's delicate body trembled and let out a low moan. Her face instantly turned pale. Because at this moment, she clearly felt that the profound energy in her body was crazily swallowed by this darkness profound flame like mud sinking into the sea. Then, her eyes suddenly darkened and her entire body turned ice cold. The surrounding world seemed to have fallen into hell in an instant. However, the whole process ended very quickly. After the incomparably powerful darkness profound flame entered Duan Rian's body, it instantly swallowed all the energy, including the darkness crystal fog blocking her chi vessel. Almost in an instant, the dark fog that shrouded Duan Rian's chi seed disappeared completely. At the same time, Yang Dingtian quickly pulled the darkness profound flame out of Duan Rian's body. Looking at the darkness profound flame that continued to burn quietly in his palm, Yang Dingtian felt that it seemed to be even darker than before. He didn't know if it was because it swallowed the darkness crystal fog. After putting the darkness profound flame back into the soul ring, Yang Dingtian said to Duan Rian, Martial ant, how is it now? Duan Rian clenched her fist in the air. Suddenly, all the profound energy in the entire space condensed in her palm, as if the entire space was distorted by her. Crack! Immediately, a huge crack appeared on the thick stone wall of the dungeon. Then, a huge boulder weighing 1,000 kilograms was suddenly sucked over by Duan Rian. Bang! When the huge boulder flew into the air, it was instantly smashed into pieces. Boom! Duan Rian's jade palms struck together. In an instant, the smashed boulder burned fiercely. After falling to the ground, this huge boulder had completely turned into ashes. This was Duan Rian's strength. Duan Rian looked at her hand. The once powerful energy had finally returned. This feeling was too good. It had been 2 years since her cultivation had been destroyed and she had been imprisoned. Just when she almost forgot the taste of powerful energy, this feeling came back. The powerful feeling of a high-level master came back. Suddenly, Duan Rian bowed deeply to Yang Dingtian and said, Martial nephew, your master once saved my life. Now, you saved me again. I will never forget the kindness you have shown me. You have to remember, no matter where you are, my Sky Phoenix Pavilion will always be your friend. If you need anything, just write a letter. Even if it's thousands of miles away, even if it's a mountain of swords and a sea of fire, I will come. Thank you, Martial ant. Yang Dingtian bowed respectfully and said, let's go out now. Then, Yang Dingtian looked at Duan Rian's body and said, oh, I'll go out first and find you clothes. Duan Rian blushed slightly and said, no, I have clothes. Then, she took out a set of clothes from the corner of the stone bed and put it on. It was a purple brocade dress, and it looked especially stunning on Duan Rian. It was gorgeous and threatening, but also noble and inviolable. Your martial ant doesn't like to be restrained, so I don't like to wear clothes when there's no one around, Duan Rian explained. Yang Dingtian nodded absent-mindedly. It was inappropriate for him to respond to this topic. Okay, let's go out. Duan Rian said, "Little Tian, go and ask that bastard Qin Huayu to leave. Otherwise, I'm worried that I won't be able to control myself and will kill him with one palm. After you come with me to see I'll return to Sky Phoenix Pavilion immediately." Yang Dingtian smiled helplessly and hurried out. He saw Qin Huayu at the end of the dungeon. "Senior Duan, did you ask me to leave immediately, or you'll kill me with one palm?" Qin Huayu asked. Yang Dingtian nodded embarrassedly. "Okay, then I'll leave. I'll leave the rest to you," Qin Huayu said. Then, he really left without a trace. Yang Dingtian returned to the dungeon and left with Duan Rian. When they arrived at the end of the dungeon, Yang Dingtian realized that this wasn't the deepest level of the dungeon. There was actually another level below. If this level of the dungeon held a master stage powerhouse, then what kind of level would the one below be? Could it be a grandmaster stage powerhouse? Yang Dingtian immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. "Little Tian, don't look too much. This northwest Qin city is far more terrifying than you can imagine," Duan Rian said. Then, she pulled Yang Dingtian's hand and left the dungeon. When they reached the ground, the two of them rode on horseback and quickly galloped towards Qin city. "Master!" When she saw Duan Rian, Ning Ro's peerlessly beautiful face was first filled with disbelief, then it turned into ecstasy. Her delicate body began to tremble uncontrollably. Finally, she opened her arms wide and threw herself at Duan Rian, crying loudly in her arms. Duan Rian also hugged Ning Ro tightly. She even greedily sniffed Ning Ro's scent. The two of them were master and disciple in name, but in reality, they were just like mother and daughter. Yang Dingtian turned and walked out, leaving the master and disciple alone. During this period of time, Qin Huayu also didn't appear. Yang Dingtian noticed that Ning Ro lived in a very simple place. It wasn't big either. There was only one courtyard, and he didn't see a single servant. He didn't even see little Ningning. He didn't know where she went. After a full hour, Ning Ro walked out and waved at Yang Dingtian. "Little brother, come in." After Yang Dingtian entered, Duan Rian was nowhere to be seen. "Where's Martial Aunt Duan?" Yang Dingtian asked. "Master left. She said she didn't want to say goodbye to you." "It would seem sad," Ro said. "Your master's personality is really carefree," Yang Dingtian said. "Yes, I won't be able to learn master's temperament in my lifetime," Ning Ro said. Then, her beautiful eyes landed on Yang Dingtian's face. She said gently, "Little Tian, not only did you save me, but you also saved my master. How do you want me to repay you?" Chapter 373. After hearing Yang Dingtian's words, Qin Zhaojiao's face flushed red. After being kissed by Yang Dingtian, she pushed Yang Dingtian away. "Tell me, what did you do to let me down? Otherwise, why are you trying to please me?" Yang Dingtian truly wanted to cry but had no tears. It wasn't easy for this woman to be gentle with him, but she had another attitude. "Tell me, what did you do to let me down?" Qin Zhaojiao glared at Yang Dingtian, then sniffed him like a dog. "No, you have a woman's scent on you. Where did you fool around?" Yang Dingtian's hard-earned pity was completely destroyed by this silly woman. He got up from her body and said, "All right, hurry up and get ready. We're leaving immediately." "No, you have to tell me, what did you do?" Qin Zhaojiao tugged at Yang Dingtian. "If you don't tell me, I won't let you off today." "I went to visit your second mother," Yang Dingtian said. Qin Zhaojiao's expression changed, then she clawed at Yang Dingtian's face and scolded, "Bastard, you bastard, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. Second mother is so pitiful and you still want to bully her? I'm going to fight it out with you." Yang Dingtian grabbed her hand and pressed her onto his thighs. Then, he started to give her buttocks and legs a series of beatings. Although Qin Zhaojiao was Qin City's first wife's daughter, as Qin Wanchou said, her future was limited. Therefore, her martial arts were limited. When she was being beaten by Yang Dingtian, she couldn't escape no matter how hard she struggled. She could only scream and curse. Moreover, once this woman started scolding people, she didn't choose her words carefully and could say anything. Yang Dingtian was really speechless. He really wanted to take pity on and comfort Qin Jiaojiao today, but this stupid woman ended up like this. At first, he was just faking it, but when he heard her scolding, he decided to hit her for real. In the end, Qin Jiaojiao was beaten until she screamed and cried. I went to that godforsaken place because your bastard brother, Qin Huayu, brought me there. I didn't even finish watching Yang Shishir's dance before I came back. I even gave Qin Huayu a slap. Yang Dingtian said, use your stupid brain and think about it. Am I that kind of lecherous maniac? Qin Jiaojiao cried bitterly from the beating and cried out, aren't you? Otherwise, why would the scandal between you and Yang Peipei spread? Pilipula. Yang Dingtian decisively slapped her again, and in a short while, Qin Jiaojiao's thighs were red and swollen. Then, he pulled Qin Jiaojiao up, stared into her eyes, and said seriously, Jiaojiao, listen carefully. Martial Uncle Shimon's kindness to me is as heavy as a mountain. I have always treated him as my father and Madame Shimon as my mother. If anyone wanted to profane her, I would kill them with my sword. And you are my wife. If you really profane her, then I will really be very unhappy and will really cut you off from my heart. Do you understand? Qin Jiaojiao turned her face and stubbornly looked elsewhere. Yang Dingtian turned her face back and looked at her. You can quarrel with Yan Yan in the future, and you can also fight with her. But you must never offend Madame Shimon, understand? Or to put it bluntly, even if I defile your mother 100 times, I will never defile Madame Shimon's finger. Do you understand? The moment he said that, Qin Jiaojiao was instantly angry and said angrily, I'm the one who will defile your mother. Yang Dingtian was completely speechless. He pinched her little mouth hard and was so angry that he panted for a while. Then, he suppressed his anger and said gently, we are going back to Cloud Sky City now. If you offend Madame Shimon like you did just now, can't you say anything? If you say it, I will definitely not be polite to you. How will you not be polite? Are you going to kill me? Qin Jiaojiao asked. I'll fucking sell you to the Sunset Mountains and let you be the wife of a group of barbarians, Yang Dingtian said. That might not be worse than being the wife of a bastard like you, Qin Jiaojiao said stubbornly. Yang Dingtian was so angry that his eyes turned white and he felt like he was going to faint. You're really going to fucking piss me off. Pilipula, pilipula. There was another round of slaps. After the slaps, Yang Dingtian turned and walked out. If he stayed here any longer, he would definitely be angered to death by this stupid woman. Qin Jiaojiao laid on the bed and cried non-stop. When Yang Dingtian left the room, Qin Jiaojiao cried and said, Yang Dingtian, remember this. After we go to Cloud Sky City, I won't offend Madame Shimon, but I won't let anyone else bully me. If anyone dares to offend me, I won't let them off. If that vixen Shimon Yan Yan dares to offend me, I promise I'll scratch her face. You're so stupid, so weak in martial arts, and so fierce in Cloud Sky City. You'll be lucky if you don't get scratched by Yan Yan. Yang Dingtian thought that his newlywed wife was really a dead duck. She could only be stubborn. Get lost, get lost. Qin Jiaojiao shouted. Yang Dingtian turned around and hugged her gently. He placed her on his lap and said gently, all right, I really don't want to stay in Qin City for another minute. If you have anything that you can't bear to part with, quickly pack it up. We have to leave quickly, okay? Be good. With that, Yang Dingtian kissed her gently on the lips. He realized that her originally beautiful lips were really swollen from his pinch. I was harmed by you last night and beaten up by you today. I can't even walk. How am I going to pack it up? Qin Jiaojiao said angrily, what shameful things did you do in Qin City that you have to leave quickly? Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and threw her on the bed. He said angrily, I'm going to die from anger because of you. After leaving Qin Jiaojiao's room, Yang Dingtian immediately ordered everyone to pack up and prepare to leave northwest Qin City overnight. Although the people below didn't understand, after hearing Yang Dingtian's order, they immediately acted and packed up as fast as they could. About an hour later, Qin Mingli ran in anxiously. Husband, what's wrong? Why are you leaving overnight? Qin Mingli ran in while holding her skirt and shouted. Hearing her call him husband, the busy people around seemed to have been immobilized and froze on the spot. Mu Lianyi's face turned cold. Stop what? Continue with your work. Then, everyone pretended that they didn't hear or see anything and continued with their work. Mu Lianyi glared at Yang Dingtian with her big eyes and sneered. Women nowadays are really shameless. How old are you and you still call me husband? Mu Lianyi looked at Qin Mingli and chuckled. Sister. If you want a man, it's useless to throw a tantrum. You also need to have enough courage. Do you want sister to help you? Sister will give you some medicine one day and I guarantee that everything will be done. Bah, I thought I was as shameless as you. Mu Lianyi immediately fled. After teasing Mu Lianyi, Qin Mingli looked at Yang Dingtian worriedly. Husband, what happened? You didn't fall out with my brother again, did you? No, I'm just disgusted by your Qin city. Yang Dingtian said, sending your wife to be a prostitute. I've never heard of such a thing in my life. Qin Mingli's face trembled. You finally know. Then, Mingli held onto Yang Dingtian's arm and complained softly, even so, you don't have to be in a hurry to leave. Although Qin City is full of lunatics, Qin City still has me. Could it be that you're disgusted by me too? Yang Dingtian sighed. Ali, my yin-yang reincarnation crystal was taken away by Dugu Shao. He asked me to rush to the Temple of Blood within 5 days. Otherwise, he would destroy it and even threaten to kill my entire family. I originally wanted to leave tomorrow morning, but after what happened today, I really wanted to leave in the middle of the night. You want to go to the Temple of Blood? Qin Mingli asked. Yang Dingtian said, I have no choice but to go. Qin Mingli looked at Yang Dingtian with complicated eyes and said softly, I know I can't persuade you. Anyway, if you die, I'll be a widow if I can. If I can't, there's nothing I can do. Or if I'm really bored, I'll just take some medicine and accompany you after I die. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but laugh. This Qin Mingli wasn't pretentious at all. She had mentioned all 3 possibilities. If he died, she would either be a widow, find someone else who wasn't a widow, or die together with him. Ali, do you want to go with me? Anyway, your reputation is already very bad. If you elope with me to Cloud Heaven City, it probably won't hurt your reputation, Yang Dingtian said. Pfft. Qin Mingli spat and said, I'm doing well in West Prefecture City. Being my underground queen is so impressive. Why would I go to Cloud Heaven City to be your concubine? I won't do it. Don't overestimate your charm. Yang Dingtian pinched her cheeks lightly. Husband, you're leaving so early. I still have a lot of things that I haven't prepared, Qin Mingli said seriously. What things? Yang Dingtian asked. Money, yin-yang magnetic crystals, demon cores, and so on, Qin Mingli said. There are also some manuals, elixirs, bloody black gold, and so on. A lot? Yang Dingtian asked. Among them, the yin-yang magnetic crystals were something that he really needed. The celestial qi condensation purification array had to use these things. Money, about 8 billion gold coins. There are about 30,000 pieces of magnetic crystals. There are about 39th grade demon cores. There are about 10 manuals of 8th grade and above. However, most of them are martial arts scrolls. There are about 900 elixirs of 7th grade and above. There are about 18,000 kilograms of bloody black gold, Qin Mingli said. There are also some miscellaneous things. In total, there are about a few hundred carts. Yang Dingtian was completely stunned. He knew that Qin Mingli was the richest woman in the world, but he didn't expect her to be this rich. All these things added up were about 10 times the total assets of Cloud Heaven City. Building a celestial qi condensation purification array required 10,000 pieces of magnetic crystals. Of course, this was despite the fact that these were the most basic materials. However, the principle behind Yang Dingtian's celestial qi condensation array was different. It was completely simplified. That was why he said that he could build it. However, basic materials like the magnetic crystals were indispensable. To be honest, Yang Dingtian didn't know how to get these 10,000 pieces of magnetic crystals. Even if he took out all the money in Cloud Heaven City, he wouldn't be able to buy 10,000 pieces. Now, Qin Mingli gave him a total of 30,000 pieces. Seeing Yang Dingtian standing there in a daze, Mingli said gently, "Husband, I know that you have a strong ego. I know that this will hurt your dignity. I know that you don't want to rely on women. However, these things are useless in Ali's hands. Only by giving them to you will they be able to display their true effectiveness." Yang Dingtian looked at Qin Mingli and said seriously, "No, what I want to say is, where are these things? Hurry up and send them to me. You gave me so many things. Not to mention dignity, I can sell you anything. Which man wouldn't want to suck up to such a woman?" Once he said that, Qin Mingli rolled her eyes at him. She lightly punched his chest and said, "You only know how to talk nonsense. You only have a sweet mouth." Following that, Qin Mingli's delicate body gently leaned into Yang Dingtian's embrace and said gently, "Bastard, you're leaving. Why aren't you making it up to me? This time, I might not be able to taste meat for a long time again. Let me warn you. If you don't come and look for me for more than a year, be careful that I don't cheat on you." Yang Dingtian immediately pretended to be pitiful and said, "Please don't cheat on me." Qin Mingli's jade arms wrapped around Yang Dingtian's neck and said sweetly, "You're so bad. Who would be willing to cheat on you?" The two of them hugged each other intimately. Yang Dingtian carried her horizontally and walked into the house. Suddenly, he felt that there was someone outside and immediately turned his gaze. Immediately, he saw a pair of teary eyes filled with disbelief and anger. It was Qin Zhaojiao. She stood at the side door of the room and bit her lips tightly. Blood seeped out from the corner of her mouth. "Yang Dingtian, I really didn't expect you to be such a person. You really make me feel disgusted," Qin Zhaojiao cried. Yang Dingtian didn't put Qin Mingli down and said to Qin Zhaojiao, "Your aunt and I started even earlier. You can stay and say goodbye to your aunt with me. You can also leave in a fit of anger." "I'll leave then. I feel disgusted just by being with you for a while longer." Qin Zhaojiao staggered out and said coldly, "Yang Dingtian, just treat it as if you never married me. Xiao Tian, quickly go and stop her. This silly girl is easy to coax," Qin Mingli said. "If she wants to stay, she can stay. If she wants to leave, she can leave. Let her be," Yang Dingtian said. 2 hours later, Qin Mingli said gently to Yang Dingtian, "Husband, I won't send you off. I still want to sleep for a while. I will continue to transport those things to Cloud Heaven City through various secret channels." And Yang Dingtian hugged her gently and kissed her little mouth, saying, "I'm leaving. You, be happy. As long as you're fine, I will be happy." Qin Mingli said, "Of course, don't leave me for too long. I'm also at the age of wolves and tigers. You have to come and sleep with me once in a while." "Yes." Yang Dingtian smiled. He lifted her jade-like foot and gently nibbled on it. In the end, Yang Dingtian touched her cheek reluctantly and turned to leave. Yang Dingtian walked out of the Yang residence's gate. There were close to 2,000 people outside and they were already lined up neatly. Everything was prepared and they could leave at any time. However, he didn't see Qin Zhaojiao's figure. Yang Dingtian was about to give the order to leave immediately. At this moment, a warhorse galloped over. When it was about 10 meters away from Yang Dingtian, the person on the horse quickly jumped down. Why are you leaving in such a hurry? Why are you still here? Qin Huayu asked. If she wants to return to Cloud Sky City in the future, please send someone to send her. Qin Huayu sighed and didn't say anything. After a long time, he said, actually, you should go to the Qin Palace to pick her up. She has a childish temper and will be fine after some coaxing. She and you are not like me and Ro. I don't want to enter the Qin Palace, Yang Dingtian said. You can send me here. Then, Yang Dingtian increased his speed and moved forward at full speed. When they left Qin City, the city gate was already wide open. Yang Dingtian and the others weren't stopped at all and quickly left Qin City. At the city gate, they still didn't see Qin Zhaojiao. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but sigh softly. Suddenly, Mu Liani said, Master, do you want me to go to the Qin Palace and pick her up? No need, Yang Dingtian said. Yang Dingtian led 2,000 people and galloped at full speed without being stingy with their horses. Of course, the war horses of this world were much stronger than those of the Earth era. If they galloped at full speed, they would be able to cover 200 miles in just 3 hours. However, the endurance of the war horses was almost at its limit and their speed had begun to decrease. 200 miles away from Qin City, there was indeed a dense, dark mass of people. There were more than 2,000 war horses and hundreds of warriors waiting here. As soon as Yang Dingtian approached, an officer knelt down and said, This subordinate pays his respects to City Lord Yang. Young Lord has already ordered us to prepare the war horses, food, and water. Thank you, Yang Dingtian said. We'll have to trouble you with these 2,000 war horses. Yes, the officer said. Then, Yang Dingtian ordered the 2,000 warriors to line up. Change horses, get food, and water. Following Yang Dingtian's order, the 2,000 people got off their horses neatly, got food and water, and got on their horses neatly. The entire process took less than 10 minutes. Then, the 2,000 people began to gallop at full speed again. This time, it only took them 2 hours and 40 minutes to complete the second 200 miles. In front, there were a few hundred people waiting. Another 2,000 elite war horses were full of fighting spirit. Yang Dingtian changed horses again and galloped at full speed again. Just like that, Yang Dingtian and the 2,000 people only used 49 hours to travel from Qin City to the border of the abyss. Of course, these 2,000 cavalrymen were completely exhausted and in extreme pain. For 2 days and 2 nights, they ate and slept on their horses. The rule was that they could not rest for more than 2 hours, but in reality, they did not even get an hour. Everyone's bones were about to fall apart and they were relying on their willpower to support themselves. But even so, there were still around 100 cavalrymen who were left behind. Yang Dingtian asked them to recuperate in Qin City's territory. After they recovered, they would immediately rush back to Cloud Sky City. When they arrived at the border of the abyss, the only bridge in front of them was completely sealed. This was the lord of Qin City's border, Qin Jingtang. On the other side of the bridge was Shimanju. Seeing Yang Dingtian and his troops coming over, Qin Jingtang ordered loudly, "Open the gate." Yang City Lord crossed the bridge. Instantly, the cavalrymen spread out to both sides and unsealed the suspension bridge. Yang Dingtian got off his horse and bowed to Qin Jingtang. "Thank you, Fort Master Qin." I don't dare. Qin Jingtang knelt down on one knee and said, "Qin City's border lord, Qin Jingtang, pays his respects to young master." "Please rise." Yang Dingtian helped him up and said, "Marshal Uncle Qin, when you are free, you are welcome to visit Cloud Sky City." "Yes, thank you, young master," Qin Jingtang said. Yang Dingtian mounted his horse and shouted, "Cross the bridge." Then, the 2,000 cavalrymen, 100 at a time, crossed the bridge at a moderate speed, ensuring that there would not be more than 200 people on the bridge. After all the troops had crossed the bridge, Yang Dingtian was the last to cross the bridge at full speed. When they reached the other side of the bridge, Shimanju led the Abyss Castle's officers to kneel down. Your subordinate pays his respects to the city lord, Shimanju said respectfully. Yang Dingtian didn't get off his horse. He waved his hand at Shimanju and said, please rise. Thank you, city lord. Shimanju said, your subordinate has already prepared brand new war horses, food, and water. City lord, please rest in the castle for now. Your subordinate has already prepared wine to welcome you. No need, Yang Dingtian said. Yes. After arriving at the Abyss Castle, Yang Dingtian changed horses again. Basically, this was the last time they would change horses. For the next 800 miles, they would have to rely on the war horses to complete the journey. This was because Cloud Sky City wasn't as wealthy as Qin City, where they could get 30,000 war horses as if they were playing around. Furthermore, the lords of the Cloud Heaven City were all in the same bed as Yang Dingtian. It was impossible for them to gather 2,000 war horses like him, therefore, for the remaining 800 miles, Yang Dingtian spent a total of 20 hours to complete the journey. When they were 200 miles away from Cloud Sky City, Yang Dingtian let out a long sigh of relief. This was because they had truly entered Cloud Sky City's absolute sphere of influence. This was the place that Cloud Sky City truly controlled. Sigh. Yang Dingtian instinctively felt a wave of sorrow. He, the great Cloud Sky City, only controlled 200 miles. As for Qin City, they directly controlled more than 4,000 miles. Indirectly, they controlled more than 10,000 miles. If he wanted to seize the authority of all the feudal lords without any bloodshed and completely control the 1,000 miles of land in the hands of Cloud Sky City, the most important thing was to condense and purify the Great Array. He had to set up this Great Array in the shortest amount of time. Furthermore, by setting up this Great Array, it could even be used to block the attack of Qin Chi's 700,000-strong army. Of course, it didn't mean that this Great Array was so powerful that it could block a 100,000-strong army. Instead, as long as this Great Array was set up, he would have a huge say in the Taiyando League. It could be used as a huge bargaining chip to rope in many forces in the Taiyando League. By then, Qin Chi's 100,000-strong army wouldn't be able to enter Cloud Sky City's territory so easily. When they were about 100 miles away from Cloud Sky City, Yang Dingtian saw Shimanlai, who had come to welcome him. He only brought a dozen horses with him. When he saw Yang Dingtian, he immediately rolled down from his horse and knelt on the ground. Black Blood Castle's commander Shimanlai pays his respects to the city lord. Yang Dingtian's expression changed. He went forward and asked, Big brother, did something happen in Cloud Sky City? Otherwise, as the city lord of Black Blood Castle, Shimanlai wouldn't have left the castle and come over 100 miles away to welcome him. Miss Dongfang Bingling is here, Shimanlai said. She has a very urgent matter and wants to see the city lord. Bingling. She's in Cloud Sky City. Yang Dingtian asked. Yes, she came yesterday, Shimanlai said. Moreover, she's injured. Injured? What kind of person can injure her? Is it serious? Yang Dingtian asked. It doesn't look very serious, Shimanlai said. Yesterday, she was recuperating in Cloud Sky City while waiting for you to return. She said that there was something very important. Therefore, I left yesterday and came here to welcome you. Yang Dingtian was very anxious. What exactly happened? Someone actually injured Dongfang Bingling? Who was so powerful? Who had the guts to do that? Big brother, bring these 2,000 people back to Cloud Sky City. I'll make a move first, Yang Dingtian said. Yes. Shimanlai said. The remaining 100 miles were the absolute territory of Cloud Sky City, so there was no need to worry about safety. Then, Yang Dingtian directly activated his celestial chi, summoned the empty spirit mysterious wings, and flew towards Cloud Sky City. Previously, he and Dongfang Bingling had agreed to meet at the swamp of the Land of Chaos. Moreover, she didn't like to come to Cloud Sky City at all. Even if she was injured, she wouldn't come to Cloud Sky City to recuperate. Therefore, unless it was something very, very important, she would only come to Cloud Sky City. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian was very anxious. With Yang Dingtian's flying speed, the distance of 100 miles only took 20 minutes. Yang Dingtian directly landed at the city gate. Greetings to the city lord. Suddenly, all the warriors on the city gate knelt down neatly. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but be slightly puzzled. Normally, Yan Yan would be waiting for him at the city gate every day. Ever since he brought her back from the Netherworld Sea, the two of them hadn't been separated for so long. Moreover, Yan Yan was so clingy. At this moment, he only saw the Jiao Liao running out from the city gate with a face full of surprise. "City Lord, you're back." Then, the Jiao Liao anxiously said, "Quick, come with me." "What happened?" Yang Dingtian asked. "The two madams are fighting. This is already the 5th time. No one can pull them apart. They are holding their swords and slashing at each other," the Jiao Liao said. Yang Dingtian was stunned. "Two madams? Who was the other one?" "Dongfang Bingling. She and Yan Yan were fighting. Slashing at each other with a sword? No way. That was impossible." But other than Dongfang Bingling, who else would the Jiao Liao say was Yang Dingtian's madam? However, how could Dongfang Bingling fight with someone? Her martial arts were so high. Even if she was injured, Yan Yan wouldn't be able to defeat her. Note: begging for monthly votes. Chapter 374. Far away from Yan Yan's house, Yang Dingtian heard the sounds of swords clashing. Ping, ping, pang, pang, the two people inside were fighting fiercely. Moreover, there were sounds of stones flying and wood being chopped. Yang Dingtian rushed into the small courtyard to take a look. How was it Dongfang Bingling? It was Qin Jiaojiao. She was holding a flashy red sword and fighting with Yan Yan all over the courtyard. At this moment, the entire courtyard was in a complete mess. All the flowers and grass were smashed, many trees were chopped, and a corner of the rockery was smashed. The two women were not injured, but their dresses were cut in many places by the sword. Yan Yan had just broken through to the martial mystic level and was not even as strong as her cultivation 6 years ago. It had been 2 to 3 months and her superior 8th grade mystic meridian's talent had only broken through from a 9-star great mystic martial master to a martial mystic, barely breaking through 1 level. With her innate talent, this speed was so slow that it made one's hair stand on end. It could be seen how lazy she was. She didn't cultivate from day to night and only thought about giving birth. If it wasn't for Yang Dingtian's constant urging, she might not even be able to break through to the martial mystic realm after a few perfunctory cultivation. As for Qin Jiaojiao, she was also an idiot. She was 2 years older than Yan Yan and her cultivation had not regressed. The conditions in Qin City were so good, and she had an endless supply of medicinal pills. Moreover, she had the Mystic Qi Condensation Purification Array, but she was still only a 3-star martial mystic. If there were no accidents, her greatest achievement in this life would be breaking through to the martial ancestor level. Because Qin Jiaojiao was 3 stars higher than Yan Yan, she basically had the upper hand. However, her talent was too idiotic, so she only had the upper hand and was unable to completely defeat Yan Yan. The two of them fought in a complete mess, panting heavily. Jiao Jiao was naturally sharp-tongued and scolded as she fought. "Humph, is this the legendary #1 genius girl in the entire Northwest region? His martial arts skills are terrible to the extreme. I don't know who came up with this title. How shameless." Qin Jiaojiao sneered as she hit her, "But I think you're more like the #1 dairy cow in the Northwest. You're carrying 2 huge lumps every day, aren't you afraid of tripping while walking? But it's fortunate that you have such a pair. Otherwise, why would that pervert Yang Dingtian fall for you?" Yan Yan immediately shouted in anger. She was usually sharp-tongued, but once she got angry, her mouth became very stupid. She couldn't say words that were too vicious, but words that weren't vicious had no lethality, So she was so angry that her anger soared to the sky. She waved her sword and slashed wildly, instantly falling into an even more disadvantageous position. Seeing the two of them fighting so intensely, Yang Dingtian smiled helplessly. He walked down to the house and saw Qin Susu standing there with a pale face. She was as quiet as a cicada in winter. When she saw Yang Dingtian enter, she immediately wanted to kneel down. "Don't kneel down. Tell me, what's wrong with them?" Yang Dingtian asked, "When did you guys arrive at Cloud Sky City? Why are you guys so fast?" Qin Susu said, "Miss and I came on a flying mount and arrived yesterday. When we arrived at Cloud Sky City, Madame Yen Yen said that Miss had to be obedient. She said that she was the boss and asked Miss Jiao Jiao to serve her tea." "And then?" Yang Dingtian asked. "Then, Miss Jiao Jiao refused. She said that she was the one who was officially married, unlike you and Miss Yen Yen, who had an affair in private, so it didn't count. She also said that she, the dignified Miss of Qin City, came to a small Cloud Sky City and must be the boss. She asked Madame Yen Yen to serve her tea." Qin Susu said, "In the end, the two of them started fighting. They fought a few times, but there was no clear winner. Then, because of bickering just now, they quarreled again. Then, they started fighting again, saying that there had to be a winner." "What about Madame Shimen?" Yang Dingtian asked. "Old Madame was still there at first, but she left later. She said that as long as the two of them don't cut each other's faces and bodies, they can fight however they want," Qin Susu said. "Oh." Yang Dingtian said, "Then I'll leave first. When they're done fighting, tell them that I'm here." Then, Yang Dingtian turned and went out to find Madame Shimen to ask about Dongfang Bingling. "Brother." Suddenly, Yen Yen shouted. She was still the best. Even if they were fighting fiercely, she could smell Yang Dingtian's scent without seeing Yang Dingtian. "Qin Jiao Jiao, let's not fight today. My husband is here." Yen Yen threw the sword in her hand away and pounced towards Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian opened his arms, and her bouncy body pounced into Yang Dingtian's embrace. She rode on Yang Dingtian's waist and pouted her lips, saying in a sweet voice, "Hubby, I missed you so much." Yen Yen wasn't that coquettish, but in front of Qin Jiao Jiao, she was like a little girl. Qin Jiao Jiao held the sword in her hand and looked at Yang Dingtian. A complicated look flashed across her beautiful eyes, and she said coldly, "A pair of shameless adulterers." Yang Dingtian kissed Yen Yen's lips, then glared at Qin Jiao Jiao helplessly. He really didn't expect that Qin Jiao Jiao would return to Cloud Sky City first on a winged cavalry. This woman really had a sharp tongue but a soft heart. He didn't want to stay in Qin City and didn't want to come with Yang Dingtian. But even though Yang Dingtian didn't want to admit it, he was still very happy that Qin Jiao Jiao came to Cloud Sky City. He suddenly felt that she was even cuter. "Jiao Jiao, come here." Yang Dingtian waved. "I'm not going." "You guys are so disgusting," Qin Jiao Jiao said. Yang Dingtian knew her character well. She was unmoved by force or persuasion. If she didn't come over, he could only give up. Then, Qin Jiao Jiao said, "Big Grandma Shimen, remember, you can't escape. We will continue fighting tomorrow. There must be a winner and a loser. Let me tell you, I will be the boss of Cloud Sky City." Then, she said to Qin Susu, "Let's go. I feel annoyed just looking at this bastard." Then, she took Qin Susu and left without looking back. Yang Dingtian shook his head helplessly. "Big brother, this Qin Jiao Jiao is really annoying," Yen Yen said coquettishly. "Did you hear what she called me? It's so unpleasant." "She's jealous," Yang Dingtian said. "The more she calls you, the more I love you." "Then do you love me more or do you love her more?" Yen Yen asked. "Aren't you just talking nonsense?" "It's definitely you," Yang Dingtian said. Yen Yen suddenly smiled and asked again, "Then do you love me more or do you love Dongfang Bingling more?" Yang Dingtian's heart trembled, but he didn't delay and said, "Nonsense, of course it's you." Yan Yan immediately became even more tender and beautiful like a flower. She leaned forward and kissed Yang Dingtian's lips sweetly. Then, she said proudly, "I won't lower myself to her level because I'm the big sister. You don't know how annoying this Qin Jiaojiao is." And, that's right. When we were in Qin City, I hit her 3 times, Yang Dingtian said. Yan Yan's face was filled with jealousy and she said sadly, "When you hit her, did you hit me the same way you hit me?" Yang Dingtian felt bad. To Yan Yan, this was the sweetest memory between them and she didn't want it to be tainted by others. "No, it's completely different. When I hit you, the more I hit you, the more I loved you. So, towards the end, I couldn't help but kiss you. When I hit her, the more I hit her, the angrier I got. In the end, I just threw her on the ground and ignored her." Yang Dingtian said, "In short, the memory of me hitting you is completely unique. It hasn't happened before and it won't happen in the future. Even if I hit you again in the future, I won't be able to find the mood back then." Yan Yan's big eyes were filled with stars from Yang Dingtian's coaxing. Then, she said in a sweet voice, "Hubby, why are your words so sweet now? When you just arrived at Cloud Sky City, your mouth was hard and smelly. Your self-esteem was so strong that you were like a hedgehog, pricking people with just a touch. Of course, it was because people were poor and had low ambitions. When people fell, they might only have dignity left. Especially at that time, Yang Dingtian's dignity was completely trampled on by Dongfang Bingling, so he had a strong sense of self-esteem. At this time, being surrounded by powerful strength and gentle love, Yang Dingtian was much more gentle and tolerant. Of course, Yang Dingtian couldn't tell the truth. He looked at Yan Yan seriously and said, "Because, at that time, I hadn't fallen in love with you yet. How can you say sweet words so casually? The sweetest words should be given to the person you love the most. So, I'm sorry, but even towards you, I had to be cold. Now, it doesn't matter if my face, my dignity, is trampled under your feet. I can't bear to. I'm willing to snuggle in your arms for the rest of my life and be surrounded by you under your wings." Yan Yan said gently, then her beautiful eyes flickered as she said, "Also, I'll serve you for the rest of my life and become your little meat." Yan Yan let out the last sound from her nose. After speaking, she hid her little face completely in Yang Dingtian's neck. Yang Dingtian's heart was about to melt from her sweet words. "But baby, Qin Jiaojiao is a rude and unreasonable woman. She's not as cute and obedient as you at all. Hubby doesn't want to care too much about her, so you have to take care of her for me," Yang Dingtian said. "And, I will." Yan Yan nodded and said, "But her mouth is very poisonous. I really can't win against her." "Then you have to at least be able to beat her. You're so talented, but how can you let her have the upper hand? According to your talent, if you're a little more serious, you'll be able to defeat her in at most 2 months. 1 year later, you'll be able to defeat her with 1 hand. 3 years later, you'll be able to defeat her with 1 finger, Yang Dingtian said, "So, in order to discipline her, you have to practice martial arts well from now on." N. Yan Yan gritted her teeth and her beautiful eyes turned. She imagined the scene of her defeating Qin Jiaojiao with 1 finger and her face flushed red. She made up her mind to practice martial arts well in the future and strive to defeat Qin Jiaojiao with 1 finger as soon as possible. Imagining Qin Jiaojiao kneeling in front of her and begging for mercy, she felt great just thinking about it. "Oh right, baby, why did Dongfang Bingling come to our house?" Yang Dingtian asked. "To look for you." Yan Yan rolled her eyes and said, "This woman is getting more and more shameless. Previously, she broke off the engagement with you, but now she comes knocking on my door every 2 to 3 days. If I wasn't educated, I would have scolded her long ago. If it was Qin Jiaojiao, I don't know how bad the scolding would be." "That's right, you're the big sister. You're broad-minded and definitely won't lower yourself to their level," Yang Dingtian said. "You're annoying. You're also laughing at me," Yan Yan said in a sweet voice, then rubbed against Yang Dingtian's chest and said in a sweet voice, Dongfang Bingling couldn't wait for you and already left. She left before the sun rose this morning. She thinks that I'm a child and didn't tell me anything. Maybe she told mother a little. But it should be something important. Go and look for mother. And then I'll go look for my mother-in-law. Wait for me here obediently. Before I leave, I'll definitely accompany you, even if it's only for 15 minutes, Yang Dingtian said. And Yan Yan nodded obediently and left Yang Dingtian's embrace. She said in a sweet voice, I really hope that we can be together every day and not be apart for even a moment. I wish I could grow on Big Brother's body. Mother-in-law. Yang Dingtian knelt down respectfully and said, I'm back. Madame Shimin smiled and helped Yang Dingtian up. She said gently, you went to see Yan Yan? And Yang Dingtian said, when I went, I saw her fighting with Qin Jiaojiao. Madame Shimin said, Qin Jiaojiao's reputation was very bad previously, and I was originally a little worried. I didn't expect that after meeting her, she would be so cute and love you so much. Now I'm relieved. Don't look at how she and Yan Yan argue so much and fight every day. In fact, she knows her limits. After fighting for a few hours, there wasn't even a scratch on her skin. In the future, as they fight, they will definitely become good friends. Both girls are heartless. And I'm also very surprised. She's completely different from the people in Qin City. Yang Dingtian said, but she mustn't make you angry in the future. That mouth of hers doesn't have a filter at all. She's so stubborn. Why would I be angry at a little girl like her? Madame Shimin pursed her lips and smiled. You're here to ask about Dongfang Bingling? Yes. Yang Dingtian said. She came yesterday afternoon. On the surface, she looks fine, but in fact, she should be quite injured. There are blood stains on her body and the corner of her mouth. Madame Shimin said, also, the matter should be very urgent and very important. I asked her what it was, but she didn't say anything. She only said that she was waiting for you to come back. You also know that she is very proud. In the whole world, other than you, I'm afraid she doesn't care about anyone else. Yang Dingtian smiled embarrassedly and asked anxiously in his heart, who hurt her? She didn't say anything. Madame Shimin shook her head. No. After she came, she only said 3 sentences. First, is Yang Dingtian back? Second, when will she come back? Third, oh. Yang Dingtian was speechless. He could even imagine how Dongfang Bingling looked like when she said those 3 sentences. After saying those 3 sentences, she sat down and closed her eyes to rest. She didn't pay attention to anyone else. Madame Shimin said, this morning, she said that she was leaving first. Then, she gave me a note and asked me to pass it to you. Then, Madame Shimin took out a pink piece of paper from her sleeve. After Yang Dingtian took it, he wasn't in a hurry to open it. Instead, he was slightly stunned. In the past, Dongfang Bingling never used pink. She didn't even use red. She only loved 2 colors, white and blue. These 2 colors were proud and cold. Pink was too warm and ambiguous. Therefore, Dongfang Bingling didn't just use clothes, she also used white paper. Now, she was actually using pink letterhead. Madame Shimin said gently, once a proud and cold girl like Dongfang Bingling falls in love, she will be more intense than any other girl. Instantly, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but blush. After all, this was his mother-in-law, and her daughter was his wife. Now, they were talking about another girl. It was really embarrassing. I was originally worried that Dongfang Bingling's heart would be too intense. Once she fell in love, she wouldn't be able to tolerate Yan Yan. Now, it seems that it's fine. Although she didn't look at Yan Yan and didn't say a word to her, she didn't reject her. Madame Shimin smiled. Instantly, Yang Dingtian felt even more embarrassed. All right, read the letter. I'll go out and practice my sword. Madame Shimin said. Yang Dingtian opened the letter. Immediately, Dongfang Bingling's delicate handwriting came to his face. Just like her, she was beautiful beyond compare, cold and arrogant. Senior brother, I originally wanted to wait for you at the swamp in the land of chaos. But a few days ago, I met Martial Uncle Ling Qingchen. He told me a lot about the things between you and me. My heart is in a mess and I don't know what to do. So, I urgently want to talk to you. Seeing this, Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat. Of course, he knew what Ling Qingchen and Bing Ling were talking about. It was about the martial arts competition 3 years later. If Yang Dingtian won, then Yang Dingtian would be the head of the Yinyang school and Dongfang Bingling would marry Yang Dingtian. From then on, she would be a good wife and assist Yang Dingtian. It was because of this that Dongfang Bingling's heart was in a mess. Of course, this matter also made Yang Dingtian's heart in a mess. Yang Dingtian continued to read the letter. And ever since I left the Dongli grassland, my cultivation progress has greatly slowed down. This is because I can't break free from my feelings. So, I didn't go to the swamp in the land of chaos. Instead, I waited for you on your way back. Let's talk things out and find a way to completely resolve it. Reading this, Yang Dingtian's heart trembled slightly. Suddenly, his entire body felt numb. Then, from the depths of his heart, he couldn't help but feel a surge of sweetness. This was the first time Dongfang Bingling had truly expressed her feelings. It had never happened before. Just like what Madame Shimin had said, a girl like Bingling would be incomparably fierce once she was moved. She couldn't break free at all. So, in the past few months, she had been unable to make any progress in her cultivation. However, Yang Dingtian didn't know what Bingling's letter was about to completely resolve their relationship. Was it to cut off their feelings or something else? Taking a deep breath, Yang Dingtian continued to read the letter. Just as I was waiting for you on my way back, I accidentally heard the two of them talking. They actually wanted to ambush you on the way back and kill you to steal your Yin-Yang reincarnation crystal. Reading this, Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat. Who could it be? The Yin-Yang reincarnation crystal was something that Ling Qingchen had given to him. Someone actually dared to rob him? Who would be so bold? The Northern World Assembly? The Ning clan of the South Sea? The earth-shattering city? The Cloud Sky Pavilion? Yang Dingtian continued to read the letter. So I drew my sword to kill the two of them. Dongfang Bingling had written it very simply. There were only 2 words here. But it was clear that Bingling had a fierce temper and her concern for Yang Dingtian. If it were anyone else, Dongfang Bingling probably wouldn't care even if they killed him in public to steal his treasure, let alone ambushing him on the way back. But she heard that someone wanted to rob him on the way back and steal his Yin-Yang reincarnation crystal, so she directly killed the 2 of them. Then, Bingling must have been injured here. Yang Dingtian's heart ached. She was a fairy-like person, but she was injured because of him. I killed one of them, but the other person was extremely powerful. His cultivation was about the same as mine. He was wearing a mask, but I could see that he was about the same age as us. When Yang Dingtian saw this, he was instantly shocked. Bingling said that the person who wanted to rob and kill Yang Dingtian was about the same age as Dongfang Bingling and Yang Dingtian. In other words, this person was only in his 20s. In his 20s, his cultivation was about the same as Dongfang Bingling's and he was already at the Grandmaster level. This was completely earth-shattering news. In the entire world, there was only one Dongfang Bingling. She was shockingly talented and broke through to the Grandmaster level at the age of 20. Yang Dingtian was also shockingly talented, but he was only a martial venerable at the moment. And this mysterious person was only in his 20s, but he had also broken through to the Grandmaster level. Moreover, he was an enemy and not a friend. His identity was mysterious. What kind of shock was this? From Bingling's handwriting, Yang Dingtian could see the shock in Dongfang Bingling's heart. Her words were especially deeply imprinted on the paper. In this world, the appearance of Dongfang Bingling was already a rare occurrence for hundreds of years. Yang Dingtian, on the other hand, had transmigrated from another world. He was a bug. Now, another such heaven-defying person had appeared. In this world, another grandmaster in his 20s had appeared, and he harbored evil intentions towards Yang Dingtian. This was definitely a disaster and not a blessing. Yang Dingtian continued reading the letter. This mysterious person stabbed me, then laughed coldly and left. Bing Ling's words were written very simply, but the meaning was very rich. This person had stabbed Bing Ling, which meant that his cultivation was not below Bing Ling's. However, he might not be stronger than Bing Ling. This was because Bing Ling had fought against two people at the same time and killed one of them. If this person's cultivation was stronger than Bing Ling, then he did not need to leave. He could have just killed or subdued Dongfang Bingling here. One had to know that there was almost no young man in the world who did not drool over Bing Ling. I chased him all the way. I was afraid that he would go to Cloud Sky City to take hostages and threaten you, so I also went to Cloud Sky City. Who knew that he would go to the land of chaos? Reading this, Yang Dingtian's heart softened. It turned out that Dongfang Bingling went to Cloud Sky City not to recuperate, but to protect Yan Yan and the others. I was prepared to wait here for you to come, and at the same time, spread out the network to track his tracks. Who knew that this morning, he would appear around Cloud Sky City? I was worried that he would kill you, so I went to Cloud Sky City to hunt him down. Reading this, Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat. How dangerous was that mysterious person? Dongfang Bingling had not recovered from her injuries, but she went to hunt him down alone. How dangerous was that? Moreover, it was also for his own sake. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's heart was filled with anger. He originally thought that his cultivation was not bad, but now he was angry that he was weak, causing Dongfang Bingling to be in danger again and again in order to protect him. Moreover, Bing Ling might be in danger now. The person in her heart was too mysterious and too dangerous. I'm chasing him, so he should be going to the land of chaos. After senior brother saw this letter, come to the Blood Hotel in the land of chaos to wait for me. If I have nothing to do, I will come here to meet you. Then, the letter ended. The rest of the letter was signed Junior Sister, Bing. It was not Dongfang Bingling, nor was it Bingling, but the word Bing. This girl really had 1,000 knots in her heart. Just one word, and that kind of sweet intimacy was vividly displayed on the paper. Yang Dingtian was burning with anxiety. He stuck the letter to his heart. He could not let Bing Ling be in danger. He had to go and help her immediately. He had to go and see her immediately. Immediately, Yang Dingtian put the letter into his bosom, held the golden soul sword in his hand, and rushed out of the house.
Chapter 375. Dongfang Bingling might be in danger, so Yang Dingtian prepared to ask Yao Rao to help him. However, Yao Rao wasn't in Qin City. She left Qin City last night and told Madame Shiman that she was looking for something. She said that after eating it, it would be good for the baby in her stomach. The day before yesterday, it snowed for the first time in Cloud Sky City. The snow stopped last night. That's right, the entire northwest mainland was a fire continent, but it didn't prevent winter or snow. However, it was difficult to accumulate snow on the ground after it snowed. There was a treasure called the Jade Tip. It was unique to the fire continent. When the ice and fire energy attacked, it would be born. Eating it was especially good for the baby in the stomach. Therefore, after the first match, many people went to look for this kind of precious jade tip. Of course, Yao Rao was pregnant with a super baby. This jade tip wouldn't be very useful for her, but it didn't stop Yao Rao's maternal instincts. Yao Rao's search would cover at least a radius of 1,000 miles. She also told Madame Shiman that she would be back tomorrow. Therefore, Yang Dingtian couldn't bring Yao Rao along. Also, it was very important for Yao Rao to stay in Cloud Sky City. In order to get Yang Dingtian's Yin Yang reincarnation crystal, the mysterious enemy might go to Cloud Sky City to kidnap a few hostages and force Yang Dingtian to hand over the crystal. If Yao Rao was here, unless a grandmaster came to invade Cloud Sky City, ordinary grandmasters wouldn't be her opponent. Mother-in-law, hurry up and send a message to Yao Rao. Tell her to return to Cloud Sky City as soon as possible. In the end, Yang Dingtian didn't satisfy Yan Yan's needs. He returned to her house, hugged and kissed her tenderly for a while, then left. Then, Yang Dingtian went to Qin Jiaojiao's room. What are you doing here? Are you proud that I came to Cloud Sky City? Let me tell you, I didn't want to come. My father forced me to come, Qin Jiaojiao said. Whether you wanted to come or your father forced you to come, I'm very happy. Yang Dingtian replied, I'm going to leave Cloud Sky City for a while. Maybe a month or two, or even longer. Ah. Qin Jiaojiao gasped softly. During this period of time, if you're bored, you can find Yan Yan to quarrel or fight. But remember, don't hurt yourself or Yan Yan, understand? Yang Dingtian said. Qin Jiaojiao was stunned when she heard that. She had never seen such a husband who would persuade his two wives to fight for fun. The people of Cloud Sky City are different from Qin City. After a while, you will be very happy. Yang Dingtian continued seriously, remember, you can throw a tantrum here. You can throw a tantrum in front of Jiao Liao, Yan Yan, and even Madame Shiman. It's fine to bully Mu Liani for no reason, but remember, don't show off in front of the disciples of Cloud Sky City and the low-level warriors of Cloud Sky City.
Do you understand? Otherwise, I'll get angry. Humph. Qin Jiaojiao turned her face away in disdain, but her beautiful eyes were slightly red. Originally, she thought that after coming to Cloud Heaven City, she would be able to stay together with Yang Dingtian and be inseparable from each other. But she didn't expect that Yang Dingtian would leave immediately after returning to Cloud Sky City. Alright, you have to be obedient and be happy. Yang Dingtian finally said. Then, he went over and hugged her. Qin Jiaojiao's eyes were red and she couldn't hold back her tears anymore. He gently wiped her tears and kissed her on the lips. He said softly, Jiaojiao, I'm very happy that you can come back to Cloud Sky City. I will treat you well in the future. Then, Yang Dingtian turned and left. Yang Dingtian rode a violent lion vulture alone and flew towards the land of chaos. Generally speaking, flying mounts couldn't fly out of their own territory, let alone into the chaotic lands. But right now, Yang Dingtian couldn't care less. A few hundred meters in the air, Yang Dingtian constantly searched the ground for Dongfang Bingling's figure. After flying for nearly 4 hours, Yang Dingtian had almost completely circled the hundreds of miles east of Cloud Sky City. He didn't see Dongfang Bingling's figure at all, nor did he see any signs of an intense battle. The destruction caused by the battle between two master stage experts was extremely great. Even from a few hundred meters in the air, it could still be clearly seen. After taking one last look at the territory of Cloud Sky City, Yang Dingtian directly flew out. After passing through a blurry area, Yang Dingtian entered the chaotic lands. This was the most chaotic land in the world, where blood flowed the most every day. As soon as he entered the chaotic lands, Yang Dingtian, who was flying in the air, immediately attracted the attention of many people. The chaotic lands were a place where crooks mixed with honest folk. For a silver coin, people could go on a rampage and kill you. For a gold coin, a gang could chase you for dozens of miles. Meanwhile, Yang Dingtian was riding on the extremely expensive fiery griffin. In the eyes of these desperados, he was like a giant flying gold coin. He was like a giant fat fish that was waiting for them to catch and kill. Not to mention anything else, just Yang Dingtian's violent griffin mount alone was worth at least 100,000 gold coins. It was enough for 100 underground desperados to eat and drink for the rest of their lives. Therefore, Yang Dingtian could clearly see that many desperados on the ground were teaming up and looking at Yang Dingtian in the air. They were chasing after him and constantly sending out signals. Yang Dingtian ignored them and continued to search the ground for signs of an intense battle. But he didn't know if it was good news or bad news, but he still didn't see any signs of a master stage battle. Yang Dingtian continued to fly and search. After a few hours, he had already flown more than 300 miles. He didn't find any trace of Dongfang Bingling in the sky, nor did he see any signs of a master stage battle. At this time, the sky was completely dark. Yang Dingtian could naturally circulate his energy to see the situation on the ground from a few hundred meters in the air, but it was already very strenuous. At this time, there was a very large town on the ground. The town square was densely packed with people looking up at Yang Dingtian in the sky. There were many other forces and many knights that were rushing towards Yang Dingtian from all directions. It seemed that the entire chaotic lands had issued a summons, calling for all forces within a few hundred miles to come and slaughter Yang Dingtian, the big fat sheep. So much so that Yang Dingtian could see that there were already 7 or 8 flying mounts that were surrounding him in the distant dark sky. Of course, these flying mounts were very small and could barely fly. Even so, this was probably the most luxurious lineup that the underworld forces of the chaotic lands could muster. At this time, the major forces on the ground square were distributing battle missions and discussing how to split the loot. Yang Dingtian suddenly controlled the fire griffin to descend, flying directly towards the center of the crowd in the square. Boom! The fire griffin landed heavily on the ground, directly creating a large crack in the ground. The crowd in the square was shocked by Yang Dingtian, and those in the center scattered in all directions. The leader of the force was a bald, burly man with tattoos. Seeing Yang Dingtian's youthful appearance, and also very handsome, and wearing luxurious clothes, he didn't have any insignia of a force. Immediately, the bald, burly man with tattoos beamed with joy. He looked at Yang Dingtian and said, "I was worried that I wouldn't be able to pull you down from the sky, but I didn't expect you to come down by yourself." Yang Dingtian dismounted from the fire griffin and cupped his hands. "What is this brother's name?" "Chief of the Iron Zen Gang, Qiu Tianma." The bald burly man said fiercely, "Young master, you really have quite the style. Flying back and forth in the sky, letting over 1,000 of our brothers on the ground chase after you. Why don't you come with me to the Iron Zen Gang as a guest?" Of course, this so-called guest was to take him hostage and test his strength. If it was just a rich family without much influence, they would take the opportunity to extort a large sum of money. "My apologies, I still have some matters to attend to." "Thank you for your hospitality, Chief," Yang Dingtian said. "Oh? Playing dumb, huh? Refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. I see that you are quite handsome. We have over 1,000 people here, and over 100 of them are men. Don't force us to take turns with you." Qiu Tianma said coldly, "Be a good boy and come with me to the Iron Zen Gang, then have your family take out 100,000 gold coins to ransom you." 100,000 gold coins, right? Yang Dingtian nodded and took out a stack of purple crystal coins. Ordinary purple crystal coins, one was worth 100 gold coins. Bright red purple crystal coins, one was worth 100 ordinary purple crystal coins. Of course, even ordinary purple crystal coins were already very rare. 99% of the people had never seen purple crystal coins before. "Let me ask you a question. If anyone can answer it, this purple crystal magnificent coin will be his," Yang Dingtian stated. Once these words were said, the 1,000 people present were instantly shocked and almost went crazy. One purple crystal coin was enough for them to live in luxury for 3 lifetimes. "Of course, if anyone lies to me, I will definitely chop off his head. Don't worry, I will definitely know if he is lying or not." Yang Dingtian said, "First question. Why should we answer you? We will just kill you and take everything you have." Qiu Tianma said. His ugly eyes immediately revealed an extremely greedy and bloodthirsty gaze. Yang Dingtian waved his hand casually. Qiu Tianma's voice stopped abruptly. Then, his head silently broke and his tall body was about to fall to the ground. Yang Dingtian waved his hand. Bang! Qiu Tianma's body instantly turned into ashes. After turning into a ball of fire, it completely disappeared. Ah! Everyone present exclaimed in shock. They were completely stunned and looked at everything in front of them in disbelief. They thought it was a fat sheep, but they did not expect it to be a demon. He was so powerful that even 1,000 people present would not be enough to kill him with a single finger. Now, I will ask the first question. Yang Dingtian said, have any of you seen an extremely cold, extremely beautiful woman, who was like a fairy from the 9 heavens, pass by? Immediately, a few people hurriedly shouted, I have seen it, slap. Yang Dingtian gave him a tight slap. Instantly, dozens of people were directly slapped a few hundred meters away and shattered into pieces in the air. When you speak, I can completely lock onto your minds, so as long as you are lying, I will know. Yang Dingtian said, next, when you answer the question, think carefully. Do you want money or your life? Suddenly, the 1,000 people present were as silent as cicadas in winter. Although money was good, it was nothing if they did not have the life to spend it. Does anyone want to answer this question? Yang Dingtian said. I know. Suddenly, a pair of hands timidly raised. Speak. Yang Dingtian said. But if I say it, after you give me the money, I will be torn to pieces in less than half an hour. That person said. Don't worry, as long as you say it, I will give you the money, then fly a few hundred miles with you and put you down. Then, you can go far away. Yang Dingtian said. That person's expression suddenly changed and said, I have not seen it, but I smelled it, I felt it. I saw a blue shadow pass by in an instant, and then there was a fragrance that I have never smelled in my life. Although I did not see anything, I will never forget that feeling for the rest of my life. I have not seen her, but I am sure that it is an extremely cold fairy from the 9 heavens. When? Yang Dingtian asked. In the morning, about 2 hours after the sun rose. That person said. Where? Yang Dingtian asked. About 100 miles ahead, in a valley. All right, take me there. Yang Dingtian directly handed the purple crystal magnificent coin to him. While he was still trembling in shock, Yang Dingtian lifted him onto the back of the griffin and flew high into the sky. Half an hour later, under that person's guidance, Yang Dingtian landed in a valley. It's here. I was digging here when I felt a cold fragrance fly past. When I saw it, it was like the shadow of a fairy's skirt flashing past. That person came to a place and said. There were traces of digging under his feet. Yang Dingtian closed his eyes and sniffed lightly. Although it was very light, he could indeed smell the delicate fragrance of Dongfang Bingling. It was fortunate that Yang Dingtian had cultivated his spiritual energy before. Furthermore, he had stayed with Dongfang Bingling for a long time and was extremely familiar with her. Otherwise, no one would be able to smell this unique and enchanting fragrance after Dongfang Bingling had been gone for so long. Of course, this was also because the charming fragrance in Dongfang Bingling's body was too special. Yang Dingtian slowly opened his eyes. If he chased after this strange fragrance, he should be able to find Dongfang Bingling's trace. You won't kill me, right? At this moment, that person suddenly trembled. I won't. Yang Dingtian patted his shoulder and said, I don't need this griffin anymore. You can ride it back to Cloud Sky City. After you return, you can find something to do in Cloud Sky City. You can also live a rich life in Cloud Sky City. Suddenly, that person looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief. He couldn't believe that a high and mighty person like Yang Dingtian would actually have such a kind heart. Yang Dingtian didn't bother about him being in a daze and immediately lifted him onto the griffin. Immediately, the griffin was very disdainful and wanted to throw the wandering warrior off. How noble was its status? How could it carry such a lowly person? Yang Dingtian touched the griffin's neck and said, "If you don't bring him back to Cloud Sky City, he will definitely die. Go back obediently." Immediately, that fiery griffin nodded reluctantly and snorted. Then, it spread its wings and flew to the highest point, flying in the direction of Cloud Sky City. City Lord Yang Dingtian, from today onwards, my lowly life is sold to you. Suddenly, the wandering warrior on the griffin's back shouted loudly and threw down the purple crystal magnificent coin. This was a total of 10,000 gold coins, but he didn't want it. Yang Dingtian caught the purple crystal magnificent coin and was slightly stunned. Why would I want you to sell your life? Yang Dingtian smiled helplessly. However, this wandering warrior was able to determine that he was Cloud Sky City Lord Yang Dingtian with so little information. He was really a clever person. Chasing after Dongfang Bingling's strange fragrance, Yang Dingtian spread his empty spirit wings and flew ahead at a low altitude. Fortunately, Dongfang Bingling traveled through the wilderness. Yang Dingtian's flying speed was very fast, and it was also night time. Not many people noticed that Yang Dingtian was flying at a low altitude. Just like that, Yang Dingtian flew along, following the fragrance of Bingling's body. 1 hour. 2 hours. After flying for 800 miles, the fragrance still didn't stop and there were no signs of fighting. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Yang Dingtian continued to fly forward. In front of him, it was no longer the wilderness, but a huge town. Although it was already midnight, there were still many people coming and going. This was even a city. It was surrounded by city walls and the town was about 7 to 8 miles wide. Although it was midnight, there were still red lights and green lights. Yang Dingtian descended from the sky and followed the fragrance. When he arrived at the city gate, it was already closed. Just as he approached, 4 dark figures appeared and said coldly, "Tualuo City is not open at midnight. Come back tomorrow." Yang Dingtian took out a bag of gold coins and threw it over. Not long later, the city gate slowly opened. Yang Dingtian chased after the fragrance and walked inside. Finally, after walking for 3 miles, the fragrance stopped. Or rather, it wasn't that Dongfang Bingling's fragrance stopped, but that it was disrupted by a pile of fragrances. Yang Dingtian looked up. Blood Inn. This was the Blood Inn where she and Dongfang Bingling had agreed to meet. It was midnight, but the Blood Inn was still very lively. There were women's coquettish voices, men's absurd laughter, the sound of cups clinking, and even the sound of men and women doing things. This was not only an inn, but also a brothel. It was even the most prosperous brothel in the city. Because, in the entire town, this was the noisiest place. After Yang Dingtian entered, a few enchanting women immediately surrounded him and rubbed against Yang Dingtian's body like candy. Yang Dingtian ignored them. His face was cold as he desperately searched for the unique fragrance of icicles in the pile of rouge and powder. Soon, the fragrance became rich. In front of him was an exquisite door. Inside, the unique cold fragrance of Dongfang Bingling was especially strong. Yang Dingtian pushed open the door. Suddenly, an incomparably graceful, incomparably arrogant and incomparably cold figure appeared in front of the window, like a fairy from the 9th heaven. "Junior sister!" Yang Dingtian shouted emotionally. Chapter 376. Senior Brother. The beautiful Dongfang Bingling turned around and smiled at Yang Dingtian. Dongfang Bingling had never smiled in her entire life. The beauty of her smile was like the melting of glaciers and the blooming of flowers in spring. Yang Dingtian walked in and closed the door. "Junior sister, where are you injured?" Bingling gently unbuttoned her clothes, revealing her snow-white, jade-like shoulder. The curve of her shoulder seemed to be carved out of white jade. On her shoulder, there was a scar, a petal-shaped scar. It was a beautiful blue color, so this scar did not destroy the beauty of her shoulder, but instead made it even more stunning. Yang Dingtian could not help but step forward and gently touch the blue petal on her shoulder. With a touch, Yang Dingtian's body suddenly trembled, and he felt a bone-piercing cold aura. Immediately, Yang Dingtian's hair stood on end, and he said with a trembling voice, "Junior sister, what injury is this?" "Senior brother, I was injured by the soul-devouring devil Mysterious," Dongfang Bingling said softly. Yang Dingtian staggered and almost fell to the ground. What does it have to do with the soul-devouring profound qi in martial Uncle Shimon's body? Yang Dingtian said with a trembling voice. More or less. Dongfang Bingling said softly, it's just that they're both the supreme evil techniques of the Temple of Annihilation. The soul-devouring profound qi is a technique from 800 years ago. 200 years ago, the Temple of Annihilation modified the soul-devouring profound qi and created the soul-devouring devil Mysterious. Yang Dingtian's body was cold, and he could not feel any warmth. He could not even speak, and his teeth were chattering. Then, what's the difference between them? Yang Dingtian asked. The soul-devouring profound qi is more violent, and it will directly modify a martial artist's profound qi and bloodline. In a very short time, it will transform him into a bloodthirsty demon who only knows how to kill. Dongfang Bingling said, but the soul-devouring devil Mysterious is different. It takes a slower time to transform the human body, but it is also much more thorough. In about a month's time, a person will completely turn into a succubus. What's a succubus? Yang Dingtian asked. They are extremely beautiful and powerful. They have intelligence, but they don't have willpower. Dongfang Bingling smiled and said, they should be the most painful kind of beautiful puppet. He could think, but he couldn't control his body. She might even watch him kill the person he loved the most. He would have a pure heart, but the hands of the devil. Evil ways will become the most vicious hand of evil. Yang Dingtian gritted his teeth and gasped for breath. Who is it? Who was it? Who did it? The people from the Temple of Annihilation have appeared, Dongfang Bingling said softly. The mysterious enemy who wants to steal my yin-yang samsara crystal? Yang Dingtian asked. Dongfang Bingling nodded and said, I found him the day before yesterday. I killed one of his companions, but he stabbed me. Then, Dongfang Bingling lifted her shirt, revealing her translucent belly. There was an obvious red mark on the side of her waist. It pierced her from the front and came out from the back. That mysterious enemy had pierced through Bingling's waist. Yang Dingtian squatted down and touched the wound. He said softly, did he stab you inside? Dongfang Bingling shook her head and said, no, this stab wasn't serious. You gave me the holy water pill. After taking it, I was fine. After resting for a night in Cloud Sky City, I was almost completely healed. Later, I sensed his strange aura again, so I immediately chased after him. You shouldn't have gone, Yang Dingtian said. Dongfang Bingling said, I abhor evil. I couldn't bear it. So, I chased after him for a few hundred miles. He was very powerful. Among people of the same age, he was the strongest I had ever seen. But, he wasn't my opponent. At this moment, Dongfang Bingling's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of arrogance. When he was about to be killed by me, a blue concealed weapon suddenly shot out. Dongfang Bingling said, I didn't care about it at all. I wanted to use my soul sword to break this concealed weapon. However, this hidden weapon actually pierced through my soul sword. I knew it was powerful and wanted to dodge it. But, I couldn't dodge it. You couldn't dodge it? Yang Dingtian said with a trembling voice. Yes, I couldn't dodge it. Bingling said, its speed was extremely fast. It was as if it had a life of its own. It pierced into my shoulder and disappeared inside, leaving behind only the blue petal mark. Only then did I know that this was the mysterious soul-devouring devil. It was the Temple of Annihilation's expert's final life-saving technique. He used his own life, soul, and Xian Qi to shoot out the mysterious soul-devouring devil. After the Temple of Annihilation's expert shot out the mysterious soul-devouring devil, he overdrew 20 years of his life. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian clearly felt a bone-chilling fear. The Temple of Annihilation's fatal attack that used one's life force was almost unstoppable. After shooting out the mysterious soul-devouring devil, he ran away. But before he ran away, he said something. Dongfang Bingling said. What did he say? Yang Dingtian asked. He said that he was teaching me a lesson on behalf of his young master. Bingling said. What do you mean? Yang Dingtian said coldly, he saw you as his young master's woman. Bingling nodded. This young master is the Temple of Annihilation's young master. Yang Dingtian asked, he said that you were unfaithful because you had feelings for me. Dongfang Bingling nodded. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian was so angry that his whole body trembled.
He said coldly, why? Why? You and I were originally engaged. Why did he say that? Dongfang Bingling did not directly answer Yang Dingtian's question. Instead, she said, Senior brother, I also told you in the letter that Martial Uncle Ling Qingshan once came to find me and talked with me a lot. He said that your talent is no less than mine. Moreover, with my personality, I'm not suitable to be the Yin-Yang school's head. So he hoped that I would step back and let you be the Yin-Yang school's head. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, Martial Uncle Ling Qingshan has already told me about these things. I also paid a visit to him in Qin City. He was very good to me. Dongfang Bingling continued, so, Martial Uncle Ling said that the martial arts competition 3 years later will still be held. If I win, I'll be the Yin-Yang school's head. If you win, you'll be the Yin-Yang school's head. Then, I'll marry you and focus on being your wife and focusing on martial arts. Yang Dingtian asked, Junior sister, what do you think? I don't know. Dongfang Bingling said, Senior brother, you know that I have always had 2 ideals. The first is to completely pull down the Yin sect. The second is to completely eliminate evil ways. If I complete these 2 ideals, I still have a higher ideal. That is to find the truth of this world, the truth of the ancient world's destruction, and find a way to save the world. Yang Dingtian instantly sighed in his heart. Dongfang Bingling's ideal was so lofty. Even if it was just her first ideal, it would be enough to shock the entire world. Your third ideal was also once Master's ideal. Yang Dingtian said. I know, but he was too anxious. Before breaking through to the martial saint realm, he went to search for this world's top secret. That's why he failed and died, Dongfang Bingling said, so, only after breaking through to the martial saint realm can I start this ideal. Then, Dongfang Bingling said, when I was very young, I swore that I would surpass everyone in this world. I would definitely not be troubled by the emotions of ordinary people, including human relationships. So, as you can see, I'm quite cold to my father and mother. Maybe you're just pretending to be cold. Back then, Master's wife stopped you from killing me, so you endured it. Yang Dingtian said. In short, the feelings between men and women are very laughable and vulgar in my heart. Dongfang Bingling said, so, when I was young, I swore that I would definitely not get married, and would definitely not get involved in the feelings between men and women. However, so many things happened between us in the Dongli grasslands. When I returned to the northwest mainland, I already had feelings for you. In the end, I'm not a real immortal. I'm just a person of the secular world. I also have feelings between men and women. In order to cut off these feelings, I left you in advance without saying goodbye.
I thought that as long as I was far away, perhaps my heart would become cold. Dongfang Bingling said, but I didn't expect that after I left, these feelings would become stronger and stronger. It almost made me unable to sleep at night. My cultivation speed also almost stopped. I was completely at a loss. Junior sister, when did you find out that the so-called Shenlang was Yang Dingtian? Yang Dingtian couldn't help but ask. Very early, much earlier than you think. Dongfang Bingling said, I'm not sure about the details. But when I was unconscious, when you took care of me meticulously, when you washed my wet skirt, I actually faintly heard the words you said. It was as if I heard them in a dream. Those days were like a dream. It was incomparably real, delicate, distant, and secretive. The me in the dream was even more fragile, more sensitive, and easier to fall in love. Yang Dingtian said, if it wasn't for those special things that happened, perhaps you would never have taken a fancy to me. That's not important. Dongfang Bingling said, in short, I'm not willing to fall behind anyone, including you. I don't want to give up my dreams. I don't want to get married, but I can't suppress my feelings. After thinking for a long time, I finally made a decision. When you return, I'll immediately tell you in person. What's the decision? Yang Dingtian asked. I want to completely cut off my feelings for you. I'm prepared to use an extreme method to completely erase this memory of mine, Dongfang Bingling said. Immediately, Yang Dingtian's face trembled. Dongfang Bingling continued, however, I'll give you the position of Yinyang School's head. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but say, but junior sister, you know that I'm not interested in this position. I know. Dongfang Bingling said, so, I'll ask you, do you love me? If you say you love me, then I'll find a place where the two of us will go through the wedding ceremony. Then we'll consummate our marriage and sleep on the same bed. But I can't give my body to you, because you'll die if I do. When I wake up the next day, I'll completely erase this memory of mine. Then, I'll return to being the cold Dongfang Bingling from before. Yang Dingtian said with a trembling voice, what you're doing is very selfish. Yes, I've always appeared to be very selfish. Dongfang Bingling said, however, all of this isn't important now, because I only have 1 month left. No. Yang Dingtian roared hoarsely, no matter where I go, I'll save you. Dongfang Bingling shook her head and said, senior brother, the stunning performance you've given me has completely exceeded my expectations. For example, you've saved Shimin Yanyan's Xian veins. You were even able to destroy the energy black hole, which completely exceeded my expectations. But you can't break the Temple of Annihilation's most powerful sorcery. If you could break it, then you wouldn't have allowed Shimin Wuya to be silently sealed in the ice cellar, unable to see the light of day. Yes, if Yang Dingtian could save him, he would have used all of his means to save Shimin Wuya. Senior brother, do you know why that mysterious enemy said that I'm not a woman and thought that I'm his young master's woman? Dongfang Bingling said. Yang Dingtian shook his head. Senior brother, you also know that I've been conceited since I was young, so I chose the Yinyang School's most powerful martial technique manual. No one in the Yinyang School has been able to cultivate this 9th-level martial technique manual for several hundred years. Although I'm extremely talented, I didn't make any progress in the first few years of cultivating this technique. At that time, I became the laughingstock of the entire Yinyang School, and even the entire world. Dongfang Bingling said, so when I was in my teens, I left the Yinyang School and traveled the world to find a way to break through. Then, I don't know if it was by chance or by necessity, but I discovered a secret realm. From then on, my cultivation advanced by leaps and bounds. I've heard of junior sister's circumstances. Yang Dingtian said. Actually, I didn't enter a so-called secret realm. At least, it wasn't a simple secret realm. Dongfang Bingling said, in fact, I met a person. It was a completely mysterious world, as if it didn't exist in the primal chaos continent. In that huge world, there was only one person, and that was my master. When she appeared in front of me, I was already on my last breath. She asked me if I was willing to become strong, if I was willing to become a person of great decision-making. I said that I was willing. She said that the price would be very, very high. At that time, in order to become strong, I was willing to pay any price. So I agreed to her promise to become her disciple, and then quickly become strong. What promise? In order to become strong, what price were you willing to pay? Yang Dingtian asked. She asked me if I was willing to pay any price to destroy evil ways. I said that I was willing. She said that not only would I pay with my life, but I would also pay with my emotions and my body. Dongfang Bingling said, she said that in the future, I might not only be a leader, nor a hero, but also a sacrifice. A poison, a top-grade item to destroy demons, a poison that would take the demons down with me. Yang Dingtian's breathing suddenly stopped. Senior brother also thought of that person, right? Dongfang Bingling asked. Yang Dingtian nodded. She remembered the number one beauty, number one expert, and hidden sect master from 200 years ago, Nihility Piao Ling. At that time, the master of the Temple of Annihilation, the demon lord Wan Wentian who had almost destroyed the entire world, and the supreme leader of the army of evil ways, had died at Nihility Piao Ling's hands. These two people were not only the most deadly enemies, but also the most loving lovers. This Nihility Piao Ling was the sacrifice to destroy the evil ways, the poison. If it wasn't for Nihility Piao Ling, no one in the entire world would have been a match for the master of the Temple of Annihilation. No one would have been able to stop the Temple of Annihilation from destroying the Tiando League and the entire world. It was Nihility Piao Ling who had saved the entire world. She had killed her most beloved man and used the most practical actions to express her vow to dedicate herself to the Tiando League. Now, someone had found Dongfang Bingling. No matter if it was beauty, willpower, or talent, this woman was not inferior to Nihility Piao Ling. She was asked to make a new poison, a sacrifice to destroy the evil ways. Your master is from the hidden sect? Yang Dingtian asked. I don't know. Dongfang Bingling shook her head and said, I have never seen anyone other than my master. Will you be the hidden sect master in the future? Yang Dingtian asked again. I don't know. Dongfang Bingling said, in fact, the sacrifice to destroy the evil ways in history might not always be the hidden sect master. Yang Dingtian slowly sighed and said, Junior sister, I originally didn't know when the War of Annihilation would begin. But now, I know when the world's calamity will come. Dongfang Bingling said, when I'm about to step into the martial sage realm, the tens of millions of troops of the evil ways will sweep across the world. Yang Dingtian said, if there are no accidents, it should happen within 10 years. So, senior brother, in the oath back then, it also included that I am not allowed to fall in love with anyone, and I am also not allowed to give my body to any man. Dongfang Bingling said, so, senior brother, you should understand why I made that decision previously. If something happens between us, it will only harm you. Even if you are extremely talented, if something really happens between us, there will be no place for you in the world. Yang Dingtian's eyes narrowed and he said coldly, Junior sister, I hate everything in the world. I hate the evil ways, I hate the Tiando League. One day, I will smash all of this so that they can no longer control our fate. Dongfang Bingling said, Senior brother, what do you think our room looks like? Yang Dingtian looked around. The room was filled with red color, fresh flowers, and red candles. Everything looked festive. This looks like a bridal chamber. Yang Dingtian said. Yes, this is a bridal chamber. Dongfang Bingling said, originally, I decided to get married here tonight, and then sleep on the same bed for a night. Tomorrow, I will completely wash away my memories. But now, there is no need for this. Dongfang Bingling went to light the red candles, then found a red dress and took off her clothes. I have already been poisoned by the soul-devouring devil mystic. I will not let myself become a succubus, so I will commit suicide in a month. Dongfang Bingling said softly, Senior brother, this result is not bad. I don't need to suppress my feelings anymore. We have a whole month. Let's get married tonight. Then, I will completely give myself to you. We can be lovey-dovey for a whole month. Then, I will completely hand over my dreams to you and ask you to help me complete it. This way, I can leave this world with no regrets. After that, Dongfang Bingling said softly, Senior brother, help me put on the wedding dress, and then we will get married. Chapter 377. Yang Dingtian, I am going to release the unfreezing water, and Fengwu will wake up. Du Gushao said, I can't guarantee what she will do when she wakes up. Even if she kills you with a sword, I won't stop her. After that, Du Gushao patted the ice bed lightly. Suddenly, the ice bed was emptied, and the unfreezing water on it quickly disappeared. Du Fengwu's beautiful body gradually sank, and when the unfreezing water completely disappeared, her delicate body was lying on the ice surface. She had the brilliant Yang Meridian, so she was born with a fiery energy. After the unfreezing water dried up and disappeared, her beautiful face began to have a trace of redness, and it was no longer as white as snow. After that, the ice under her body gradually melted. Her pulse and breathing gradually returned to normal. As if waking up from a very deep dream, Du Fengwu opened her beautiful eyes with great effort and looked around in a daze. Yang Dingtian was the closest to her, so when Du Fengwu opened her beautiful eyes, the first thing she saw was Yang Dingtian's face. She was surprised at first, and then she muttered to herself, Am I dead? After that, her beautiful eyes looked around, looking for her precious baby. The baby also realized that its mother had woken up, and it didn't even want its closest grandfather. It opened its small arms and struggled to pounce over. Its small mouth vaguely called out, Mama, Mama, baby. Du Fengwu opened her arms and threw Yang Dingtian aside. She got up from the ice bed and carried the baby over. She greedily sniffed the baby's scent, and then kissed the baby's face desperately. I brought Yang Dingtian over for you. If you want to kill him or cut him up, it's up to you. Du Gushao said, If you don't kill him or cut him up, then I will hold a make-up wedding for you later. After saying that, Du Gushao and Du Aoshuang turned and walked away. In the entire cave dwelling, only Yang Dingtian and Du Fengwu were left. When the baby was in its mother's arms, it immediately let out a satisfied giggle. Then, she very skillfully lifted her mother's clothes, opened her small mouth, and held one in each hand. Her other chubby little hand grabbed the other even more skillfully, and then let out a proud laugh, greedily sucking. The baby was very greedy. He ate one and grabbed another. You've been poisoned by the soul-devouring devil mystic demon. Is it not good for baby to drink your milk? Yang Dingtian couldn't help but ask. He didn't want to say this to Du Fengwu, but he was truly worried. After my chest was pierced by your sword, I no longer have any milk. Du Fengwu said coldly, This baby is only sucking on the milk to satisfy her cravings. Normally, she eats the milk of the wet nurse. When he recalled how he had pierced Du Fengwu with his sword, he felt that his hatred had been vented. Now, there was only endless regret. At the very least, the baby's right to drink his mother's milk had been taken away. I'm sorry. I regret stabbing you with my sword. Yang Dingtian said. Nothing much. Du Fengwu said, I want to kill you, and you want to kill me. It is very normal. Du Fengwu's attitude was very cold. Immediately, the two of them fell into an awkward situation. Did my father ask you to come? Du Fengwu asked. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, Of course, even if he didn't ask me to come. If I knew that there was a baby between us, or if I knew that you were in danger, I would have come as well. No, this baby doesn't have much to do with you. Du Fengwu said, My father doesn't understand me. He always thought that I had an unforgettable impression of you and that I loved you. But I didn't, perhaps, there was a little bit of it in the past. Especially when I gave my body to you in the mystic realm. After killing you, your shadow left a deep impression in my heart, but it wasn't unforgettable. But after giving birth to the baby, all my love has been entrusted to me. Originally, you made my heart throb, but now, you are just a passerby. Yang Dingtian instantly turned silent. You might be wondering why I didn't make a move to kill you in the Dongli grassland, right? Dugu Fengwu said, that is because after giving birth to the baby, my cultivation had regressed tremendously. Furthermore, I didn't show any mercy to you back then and killed you miserably. Of course, when Qin Huayu set up a monstrous trap to kill you, I secretly left the Temple of Blood. My father should have told you about this matter. Yang Dingtian nodded. That's right. I went to look for you. Dugu Fengwu said, I didn't want you to be killed, and I wanted to save you. But do you know the reason? Yang Dingtian shook his head. I don't know who taught him. Perhaps it was Aoshuang. Dugu Fengwu said, that night, the baby suddenly called out, Daddy. I don't know if he did it by accident or if someone taught him. In any case, he called out, Daddy. My heart ached. Other people's babies have parents, and I don't want my baby to be fatherless. Therefore, I left the Temple of Blood to save you. Of course, it was only to save your life. I will ask Qin Huayu to spare your life and destroy your mystic meridians and chi vessel, making you powerless. After that, I will bring you to the Temple of Blood or find a place for you to stay in. In the future, if the baby wants a father, I will bring him to see you. Dugu Fengwu's voice was very indifferent, but it was also very heartless. My father doesn't understand women's thoughts, so he asked you to come to the Temple of Blood. He wants me to live the last few days of my so-called blissful life. Dugu Fengwu lifted her head and laughed. He is a great devil, and it is rare for him to have such thoughts. Therefore, we won't expose him. If he wants us to get married, then let's get married. Yang Dingtian didn't reply. 5 days later, I will end my own life. After that, you can leave the Temple of Blood. Dugu Fengwu said, the baby will stay in the Temple of Blood. Aoshuang will dote on him a lot. In the future, if you miss the baby, you can come and see him. After all, you are his birth father. N. Yang Dingtian then sat on the ice bed and said, I have a few questions. Can I ask you? N. Go ahead, Dugu Fengwu said. What does the person who planted the soul-devouring devil mystic look like? Yang Dingtian asked. His face is fake, so I don't know what he looks like. Dugu Fengwu said, but he shouldn't be more than 30 years old. He has the cultivation of a master, and I didn't have the ability to resist. However, his voice was very obedient, and it was neither male nor female. Furthermore, it sounded as though a needle was slicing the throat, making the voice very strange. Yang Dingtian closed his eyes and took a deep breath. That's right, it was that person. This person was that mysterious enemy, and he was also the one who planted the soul-devouring devil mystic in Dongfang Bingling. Dongfang Bingling said that the soul-devouring devil mystic was formed using one's life. This person had released the soul-devouring devil mystic twice in a short period of time, which meant that he had sacrificed 40 years of his lifespan. He was a punisher sent by the Temple of Annihilation. Perhaps that young lord of the Temple of Annihilation had never placed the lives of these punishers in his eyes, even though he was already a young master. Dying is nothing, but it is a pity that I can't compete with Dongfang Bingling. Dugu Fengwu sighed and said, more than a year ago, she was an 8-star Martial Supreme, and I was a 7-star Martial Supreme. We weren't that far apart. However, after arriving at the Dongli grassland, she devoured the mystic flame and broke through to the master realm. As for me, because I gave birth to a baby, my cultivation was greatly weakened, and the gap between us became even bigger. I am really unwilling to accept this. However, if I wasn't planted with this soul-devouring devil mystic and devoured a mystic flame, I believe that I would still be able to fight with her a few years later. Yang Dingtian said, if it is just this unwillingness, then there is no need. Dongfang Bingling will also have a hard time surviving this month. Why? Dugu Fengwu widened her beautiful eyes and asked. She was also planted with the soul-devouring devil mystic. Yang Dingtian said indifferently, the punisher who planted the soul-devouring devil mystic in her is the same as you. Dugu Fengwu's absolutely beautiful face was instantly filled with disbelief as she said, how is this possible? Why? It is because I gave my body to you, which is considered as betraying young lord. Why is she doing this? She is about to play the role of the Nihility Piao Ling from 200 years ago. She is the final woman that the Lord of the Temple of Annihilation is destined to conquer. Yang Dingtian said, therefore, that bastard from the Temple of Annihilation saw Dongfang Bingling as a betrayer. Dongfang Bingling and you have feelings for each other? Feelings? Dugu Fengwu asked in disbelief. Yang Dingtian didn't reply and just lowered his head. How is this possible? Dongfang Bingling is so prideful and outstanding. She is even more arrogant than me. How is it possible for her to fancy you? Dugu Fengwu asked. Yang Dingtian let out a bitter smile and didn't reply. Young Lord should be the one killing you. Why did he make a move on Dongfang Bingling? Dugu Fengwu asked. Perhaps, he felt that my level wasn't high enough and wasn't worthy for him to make a move on me. Yang Dingtian said, he wanted to wait for me to grow to a certain level before destroying me. Dugu Fengwu sighed softly and said, it is a pity for Dongfang Bingling. She is practically the only person that I admire in this world. Yang Dingtian, you aren't worthy of her love, and she shouldn't have perished for you. Yang Dingtian smiled helplessly and didn't reply. At this moment, Bao Bao was sleeping soundly. That extremely beautiful little face, those long eyelashes, that snow-white and tender little face. Yang Dingtian was truly in love with her. You want to hug her? Dugu Fengwu asked. Yang Dingtian nodded. Dugu Fengwu carefully handed over Bao Bao to Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian hugged her lovingly. Bao Bao was very alert as she opened her eyes and was about to cry. Oh. Mommy is here. Mommy is here. Dugu Fengwu immediately went forward and patted Bao Bao while kissing her little ears. Bao Bao immediately closed her eyes lazily and fell asleep soundly. You and Aoshuang were married. After I died, Bao Bao will be taken care of by Aoshuang. She is Bao Bao's mother. Dugu Fengwu said, so, in order for Bao Bao to have a good mother, you have to find a way to cure the things on Aoshuang's body. I can only rely on you. My father doesn't care about Aoshuang. I will. Yang Dingtian said. Then, are we still going to proceed with our wedding? Dugu Fengwu asked. Up to you. Yang Dingtian said. Then, let's not proceed with it. Dugu Fengwu said, go and tell my father that we don't care about this ceremony. All right. Yang Dingtian said. The two of them instantly fell into silence. Suddenly, Dugu Fengwu said, Yang Dingtian, Dongfang Bingling and I have both been poisoned by the soul-devouring devil mystic. If you are able to save one of us, and only one of us, who will you save? Yang Dingtian instantly fell into deep silence. I don't know. Yang Dingtian said. Yang Dingtian came to see Dugu Shao. Why are you here? The wedding arrangements will be done soon. When the time comes, you can come and perform the ceremony. Dugu Shao said. We feel that there is no need to hold a wedding. Yang Dingtian said. Why? Dugu Shao asked. Because Fengwu doesn't love me. Yang Dingtian said, you don't understand your daughter. Then, do you understand her? Dugu Shao said coldly, she is only doing this so that she can die alone 5 days later. She doesn't want you to be in pain, and she doesn't want you to miss her. No. You really don't understand your daughter. She is much more carefree than you think. Yang Dingtian said, furthermore, I don't have time to stay here. I have to leave the Temple of Blood immediately. You dare? Dugu Shao said coldly, do you really think that I won't kill you? I am going to see that Punisher from the Temple of Annihilation. I want to get the method to save the soul-devouring devil mystic from him. Yang Dingtian said, I came to the Temple of Blood to ask you how to save the soul-devouring devil mystic. But you said so resolutely that it's impossible. I don't believe you. Dugu Zhao's gaze immediately constricted, and he said, you should know that that Punisher can crush you to death with one finger. Moreover, you are definitely the Temple of Annihilation's most important enemy. You are walking right into their trap. Do you know that? That bastard young master of the Temple of Annihilation might not want to kill me yet. He probably thinks that I am not qualified, Yang Dingtian said. Then do you know where the Punisher from the Temple of Annihilation is? Du Gushao asked. I don't know, Yang Dingtian said. I don't know either. Du Gushao said, and you can't expect me to help you. I would rather Feng Wu die than betray the Temple of Annihilation. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, I know, but I have a few questions that I hope you can answer. Go ahead, Du Gushao said. First question, was the soul-devouring devil mysterious energy modified by Wan Wentian, the master of the Shrine of 10,000 Extermination 200 years ago? Yang Dingtian asked. Yes. Du Gushao nodded. Was the origin of the Soul-Eater Devil an evil soul from ancient times? An energy life form formed by the evil of all things in the chaotic continent? Yang Dingtian asked. Du Gushao trembled and opened his eyes. How do you know this? Yang Dingtian didn't answer Du Gushao's question. Instead, he continued to ask, if I call the origin of the Soul-Eater Devil an evil soul, is it in the hands of the leader of the evil ways of every generation, the master of the Temple of Annihilation? And those who want to learn the Soul-Eater Devil art will have such a terrifying evil soul in their bodies. Du Gushao's face was instantly filled with shock. This was the Temple of Annihilation's top secret. How did Yang Dingtian know about it? How did Yang Dingtian know about it? Of course, it wasn't his master Dongfang Minmi who said it. Even his master didn't know about this secret. It was Dongfang Bingling who said it. Although she didn't learn the Soul-Eater Devil art, her master was very clear about the Soul-Eater Devil art. Of course, she didn't tell Dongfang Bingling in detail. It was Dongfang Bingling who roughly guessed it and then told Yang Dingtian. After Yang Dingtian guessed it in his mind, he verified it in front of Du Gushao. Now, he got a definite answer. Yang Dingtian looked into Du Gushao's eyes and said, people once said that there was no solution to the energy black hole. But, I solved it. Now, people said that the Soul-Eater Devil art is the Temple of Annihilation's supreme evil art. It is far above the evil soul art. It is the supreme art of evil ways and is absolutely unsolvable. But I am not willing to watch my son's mother leave like this. Even if there is no hope, I still want to try. Moreover, I may not be without hope. I want to find the Punisher of the Temple of Annihilation. Even if I have to cut him into pieces, I must find a way to solve the Soul-Eater Devil art. If you can solve the Soul-Eater Devil art, then the whole world will be overturned by you. Du Gushao said, if you can really succeed, then I can agree to any request of yours without reservation. Anything. Then, Du Gushao looked indifferently at Yang Dingtian. Of course, all of this is just an illusion. The reality is that you will die. You will be smashed to pieces. That might not be the case. Yang Dingtian said. If you want to court death, I will not stop you. But you have to get married to Feng Wu first. After the wedding tonight, you can leave. Du Gushao said coldly, you cannot reject these two conditions. I want to give my daughter a complete wedding. Deal. Yang Dingtian said. 2 hours later, Yang Dingtian and Du Fengwu got married. There weren't many people who participated this time. There was only Du Gushao, his wife, Bao Bao, and Du Aoshuang. Yang Dingtian wore the red wedding dress again, while Du Fengwu wore the red wedding dress. Under the guidance of a blind elder, the two of them bowed to the 2 moons and the 2 suns in the sky, the primal chaos continent, and finally Du Gushao and his wife. After the ceremony, Du Aoshuang carried the sleeping Bao Bao away. Then, Du Gushao pushed Yang Dingtian and Du Fengwu into the bridal room. They entered the festive, warm, and luxurious red bridal room. There was a delicate fragrance in the bridal room. The beauty by his side was gorgeous beyond compare. Yang Dingtian waved his hand and instantly extinguished the candle flame. Then, he lay on the bed and closed his eyes. After lying down for 2 hours, he was prepared to leave the Temple of Blood and look for that Punisher. 15 minutes later, suddenly, there was a mesmerizing fragrance in the blanket. Dugu Fengwu crawled into the blanket. Then, a soft body pressed against him. Dugu Fengwu hugged Yang Dingtian from behind and then pressed her face against Yang Dingtian's back. "Didn't you say that you have no love for me at all?" Yang Dingtian asked. "You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.